The Carolina Panthers are heading into the final week of the preseason, and there are some tough cuts ahead. Some cold cuts, if you would say. Take my prosciutto, my gabagool. There's going to be some cold cuts. How many linebackers? Who will be the starting linebacker? Will a big name tight end, recent draft pick, be on the bubble and make this team? We've got a lot of great insight tonight, including Jim Szoke from the Carolina Panthers radio network. Man, the Bucks are scared, and the Panthers are striking fear into teams in other divisions. You're listening to the C3 Panthers Podcast. Let's rock.
Tony Dunn, ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
The Carolina Panthers had an extra preseason game this year because of the Hall of Fame game. So they've played their third preseason game, and they finally got on the scoreboard with the starters, 34-17 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Did you know that the Buccaneers are struggling against that same Jaguars team? Hey, and now the Carolina Panthers have one last time for some players to prove that they belong on this roster. They head into the final week of the preseason, and now they got to trim that roster from 90 to 53. There's going to be some tough cuts, some cold cuts ahead. And how will this be affected as Taylor Moton and Akim Ekwonu could be rejoining this team sooner than later? What does that mean for Monroe Freeland, the rookie? How will this offensive line shake out? And I'm telling you, I know Cody likes to look at those wide receivers, but you can only keep so many of them. Cody, there's a lot of news coming down the pipe for the Carolina Panthers. We're in that final stage of it's about to happen. Welcome back to the C3 Panthers Podcast. It's Tuesday night where we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective.
Welcome. Dude, listen, man, I feel like, you know that moment when, let's say your mom is making dinner and you can smell it in the oven and it's almost here. It's almost ready to eat. Well, that's the start of the season, Panther fans. It is upon us. We only have one more preseason game to go. We will live stream and react to that this Friday. But Tony, man, so much to talk about. We're going to break down a little bit of this roster. We're going to talk about the Detroit Lions cribbing our style. We're going to talk about Haynes King and what his future role on the offense is. Man, we have so much to get through, and we're going to do it with the best damn Panther fans in all of YouTube. You know we got Kristen Butler in the building. C-Dog, the brand ambassador, what's up? Christian in the building. Harvey, London, KG73s, Loud Packs, Luke, Michael Wydrick, what's up, bro? Panther Gal in the building, Rock Rhyme, Panther Pickle, the real AP, and the Hope Dilla in the building. Tony Dunn, it's a Tuesday night, brother. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. Let's roll.
The number's 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. We'd love to get your thoughts on this Panthers roster. Who's on the bubble? Who is that recent draft pick, just a couple of years, who could be feeling a lot of pressure, and because they're not able to contribute on special teams as much, be facing being cut? How will the Carolina Panthers deal with some of these tough decisions? How will they navigate that linebacker group? And what additions are still to be made? You're listening to the longest running Panthers podcast. We appreciate it so much. Smash the thumbs up button, subscribe, consider being a C3 super fan. Right now, if you go to Spotify or iTunes, you can get a special episode that I put up this afternoon as I hung out with Jim Szoke, Panthers Radio Network, 27 years with the team. He's been there the entire time. right? Analysts for every single season. We got some insight into the roster, how the big picture looks. And he's also the play-by-play guy for my ECU Pirates. So we talked about how it feels to drive from Charlotte to Greenville. One guy gets paid to do it. This guy right here, when I do it, I got to pay to do it. But I don't pay to hang out with y'all. I appreciate it, and I don't pay to hang out with CK because he's my homeboy. Good to see you again.
Man, as always, just super happy to be here on the cusp of NFL football, dude. Panthers are, playing football right now. We can argue whether we're going to see them this week or not, but we're on the cusp of a legitimate football that is going to be some football that actually matters. And it feels like it's been just yesterday that we were having the conversation about we did in the playoffs, and it's just really exciting to see things kind of shift and start to take place. But one of the questions I think we're going to be talking about is this offensive line and what that means ultimately. But everything I've seen from the tape of not only our Monroe Freeling, but also from our center, rookie center, Hecht.
Sam Hecht, I think?
Sam Hecht.
It's that these dudes are going to be a pivotal piece to this offensive line for a long time. And so it's going to be interesting to see how they handle it, because I really don't know what you do in this situation.
Stick around and find out some of those roster battles and how the Carolina Panthers may deal with the return of Taylor Moton and what that means for Monroe Freeland, who's been playing well, but also thrust into a new position or right tackle. He's drafted to be left tackle and asked to do a lot, maybe more quickly than the Panthers wanted him to do. Taylor Moton coming back. What does that do for the roster shakeup, right? Or not roster. How will they deploy these assets? The Carolina Panthers on September 13th open up against the Chicago Bears, and right away there will be a big test. Two former playoff teams. And I can't tell you, we may be excited about this season. I think there has been a nervous anticipation in the background, not only from, I felt like, look, Zoke's been around forever. He's been here for 27 years. I guess you can't throw him off. He's just going to be even keel all the way. But I wouldn't be surprised if there are some nerves for this Carolina Panthers coaching staff, because this season, not only starting with a big game, I think the stakes are higher than people want to admit. And like CK said, real football will be happening soon, and real football right out the gate. Thank you for joining the podcast. Smash the thumbs up button. Tonight's show, toughest roster battles lie ahead for the Carolina Panthers as they have their fourth preseason game. Who's their final preseason game is against the Texans, who they are in joint practices with. Right now, you cannot expect that a lot of starters will be playing on either side. This final game maybe is an opportunity for some of these guys fighting tooth and nail, a John Mechie, a Jimmy Horn Jr., to see which one of them will survive the 53. Not everybody can do it. There will be some tough cuts ahead. Cody, take us into tonight's show. But right now, the story isn't the preseason. Are we striking fear into other teams? Are we in their heads? I feel like I've tried to follow this story. Very busy day for me on Tuesdays. I saw a video that the Lions put out, and it put like they had a big lion, and it was like there's an invader in the house. And I saw people in Carolina, all of my timeline retweeting. I was like, are the Panthers invading Detroit? Are they already in fear about week 1, 2, 3, week 4? They're already week 3 quaking in their boots. What happened today with the Detroit Lions and the Carolina Panthers fan base?
So the NFL is trying to do a rivalry week kind of thing like college football does between all the teams in the division. And during that week, the NFL teams are going to have alternate uniforms. And the Detroit Lions revealed their alternate uniforms. And everybody says they look suspiciously like the Carolina Panthers. The numbers are almost identical. The black and blue stripes on the shoulders look very similar. A lot of people were kind of running with this, so much so that WBTV ended up putting it on their Twitter page. Panther fans flooded social media on Tuesday that blasted the Detroit Lions over their newly released black and blue alternate jerseys. I mean, and look, they do look kind of similar to me. This is 14.
Is that their helmet?
Yeah, that's
I
the
think
helmet.
that's where they screwed up.
Yeah, I mean it's
Well,
not
the
silver
blue.
like a
What's wrong
Panthers
with
helmet.
the blue? It looks like it's been AI'd.
No, they do the blue helmet now. They do the full Honolulu blue helmet. But and this is from the Detroit Times. The Lions are never beating the Detroit Panthers allegations. Busting with the boys said the Detroit Panthers just dropped some fire. So I don't know. I just thought this was kind of funny, something different to start the show with. They do look a lot the same. I think the numbers is what really kind of makes it similar. But I don't know. I wanted to see what you guys thought. Are the Detroit Lions trying to crib our style? I kind of think so, man. They know that we're the cooler cat in the NFL.
Here they fucked up.
Yeah, they don't look good.
Well,
Like,
they
they don't look cool, in my opinion.
There is something. Look, everybody, all Panther fans, we all and people that have become Panther fans from like overseas or have to pick a team, a lot of times pick it because of sometimes pick it because of our colors, our logo, that contrast, that cool. What is it? Now it's what is it? We used to know the name of it. Process blue. And it kind of had this black. I mean, it popped. But I tell you, CK, for one of the oldest old school, real original type teams, the Lions blue and black and their silver is fresh. Like it's matte, it's mute. I think it looks like if you saw somebody wearing a Barry Sanders jersey or a Detroit Lions hat and they were just a fan, like not even a fan, but they're just matching their shoes to their shirt. That blue and that silver, they just work right. That mute, like they went off blue. And I don't know what was this? Is this kind of like what they did when you were talking about college? And remember they had those stupid Oregon like the Nike, or maybe it wasn't Nike refresh, but it was like those every week they would drop some funky jersey.
As a new jersey, like every other game.
I think they could have kept. I think they had the problem here is they just deviated from their color palette.
I mean,
and yeah. So if you're saying they stole, they took somebody else's, yeah, they accidentally, whoever their designer was, accidentally pulled up the Carolina Panthers color palette and was like, I'm going to try to. It's like they had never watched a fucking game and saw the Carolina Panthers before. Sure. And they're like, oh, well, maybe nobody will. I mean, this is new. This is hip. We're just putting a new fresh thing on this old school throwback. Vintage is in. The Lions should have stuck with it and found a way to marry vintage with whatever this is. What was the point of this jersey mashup, dude, or whatever? Is it to
so all the NFC North teams are doing it when they play each other, and all the AFC South teams are doing it with each other. So
are like the Vikings going to just adopt the Ravens logo?
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because the Ravens and the new Vikings uniform do look the same. I saw a Vikings fan said, dude, if I was going to be a fan of this, I'd be a Ravens fan. So, yeah, I think there is a little bit of these teams looking like other teams. There's one of Caleb Williams looking extra zesty, sitting back on a couch.
Oh, did you see Antonio Brown's tweet?
Oh, yeah. But, dude, he's really.
You did see it? You saw it?
I saw it.
I mean, he has that. He's like the rudest person. And he says all the things.
Yeah, 100%.
But it's always funny the people he selects, and he did select Caleb Williams.
Yeah, Caleb Williams out there looking like a bad bitch.
What's the name of these types of jerseys again? So I can look at the Vikings one.
The NFL. I can pull them up. The NFL rivalry jerseys.
Let me see here.
Chat, what do y'all think? Did they crib our style? Or are they trying to look like the Carolina Panthers? Because to me, like, look at the numbers, okay? The texture in the middle, obviously different, but the jet black letters, and honestly, it's the same style of numbers. I mean, the same style of numbers with the blue trim.
Yeah.
Like, come on, dude.
It's too. I don't think that they intended to do what they're doing. So no, I don't think that this was
which makes it even more idiotic in a way.
Yeah, that's the thing that does make it almost worse. It's like you know, one of the things that I think that you have to acknowledge is the point of this is to be unique, right? And that this is like the opposite of being unique. And I do believe that you would have been better off making or let me explain it this way. If you're the artist who came up with this, which I think we can all probably assume was an artist of some sort, why in the world are you not looking around the league to make sure you're not just doing what somebody else is already doing? Like, it's that part is kind of the weird part to me.
Yeah. So these are all of them. You see the Bears at the top left. And it's weird because theirs is more like when the Packers do their throwback jerseys.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what theirs remind me of. You see the Vikings in the middle there.
And who are they going to be wearing them against?
So I think it's when they play their division rivals. So like when the Bears play the Packers and vice versa.
So they'll both wear those. Packers, I'm all right with. It's whatever that stupid symbol.
The Packers has like a Notre Dame vibe to me.
Yeah, I agree. Whatever that stupid symbol. Who's the bottom? The bottom right is Detroit.
Who is
bottom right?
Bottom right is the Indianapolis Colts.
The Colts?
Yeah, that's the Colts. Which is so stupid because they don't have black.
The AFCs look better. It really comes down to the first three. They just look like you're right. Is that thank God they didn't change the helmet for the Vikings, or else you would have felt like you were a Ravens fan.
Yeah, 100%. So then the Texans is next to the Colts. The Titans is next to the Texans. Jaguars are on the bottom left. And dude, the Jaguars, they have Jaguar spotted pants.
Okay, let's go ahead and we'll wrap this and move on. The NFL is the most watched undefeated sport.
Yeah, America's
right?
pastime.
It's like, I mean, you don't need to do this stuff to get additional jersey sales. You're not going to get that many more jersey sales. In fact, you're probably going to spend more money than you're going to make. On top of that, I think they should just, if anything, right now, vintage is in. All the hipsters love wearing. Now Janko jeans are coming back and stuff. Go back and throw you might not like watching some of these teams where they have the ugly jersey, or you might say, oh, those are ugly, but we can appreciate you're like, oh, that looks like old school. We didn't, it's dated, but that's cool. It's part of the history. This is like I feel like this is what college football has to do when you're not the SEC and you're trying to be gimmicky to get any bit of interest. And the NFL doesn't need. What they need to do is keep the product pristine. And I was on Pirate Radio recently, and we'll turn this deviate just a little. Is that the idea that they are really now? I think Roger Goodell came out. We have a friend, CW. He's a Bucs fan, but he is an NFL fan. When he comes on the radio, he wears an NFL Shield T-shirt. He goes to the Hall of Fame game, almost once a year. He just loves the NFL, and he did not wear his Shield T-shirt when he came on the radio this week. And my boy Clip said, "What, are you mad at Roger Goodell because he's putting international teams in?" And he was like, "Yeah, kind of." I mean, that's not why he didn't wear the shirt, but he thinks that bringing in that international team, particularly like he thinks it's probably going to be Germany, that's going to cause such stress on scheduling and things like this that it will ultimately make the product of the NFL worse.
I
Like,
don't
trying
think they'll
hard.
ever do it, Tony. I think there's a lot of talk. I think it's a lot of hot air.
I think they're doing it.
I don't, because of what your buddy was saying. I think the logistics of it is just too much of a nightmare. You're going to tell me you're going to have teams going to and from Germany on a regular basis?
No, they
just
wouldn't be on a
crazy,
regular
man.
basis. They would have to. It would be like whatever that Germany team they would face. They would be on like a 8-8 schedule, 8 home games. Everybody they play is either going into a bye or off of a bye. Maybe they have to bring in 2 teams.
Is that even possible? Is there enough games for them to do that where every team that comes in?
Oh, totally. And you know
coming
what?
off of a bye?
The best thing you can do in the NFL would be to add another bye. It would help NFL teams all around. I don't know if flying all the way across a lot of people arguing, look, is flying from California to North Carolina is just 3 hours difference, 2.5 hours or 3 hours. But if you put it all the way in Germany, maybe you have to bring in 2 teams at once. Or, I mean, I think the better idea of expanding into international would be to put a Canadian team and a Mexican team in there and have like the NAFTA. But I don't think it's I don't know how much it will add to us in our viewing experience. I don't think it'll do anything for us. I think the whole idea is just to court a larger audience to kind of be like what World Cup is gazillions of the whole planet watches. All of America watches now, but they want the whole planet watching. Anyway, they don't need to do these jerseys to do that. Fail. CK, how does the marketing, who the fuck got this through? Like, imagine being the pitch guy. It's like, what was it? Who is the pitch guy? It's like, I really think we need a rivalry week. It's like college. We're coming off a college football opening, and we're gonna do rivals, and we're gonna make dumb jerseys.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's a way to sell more jerseys. To be honest with you, I think that's really all that it is. It's just
no one's buying these.
Detroit Panthers.
I mean, you might have some people that really enjoy it, that buy it for sure. I mean, I'm not saying that there's going to be a lot of people willing to buy it, but I don't think that it's a zero sum game when it comes to it.
Could I get a Barry Sanders jersey in this and like just wear a Panthers hat around, and just because I like Barry Sanders? Or like I love Randy Moss, who's Randy Moss jersey and the Panthers colors, and then I just wear a Panthers hat around.
Sure.
Yeah, I think anything goes at this point. When they're looking that much the same, yeah, probably so.
Okay.
All right, well, I just wanted to clown on the Lions for a little bit. But how about this? So ESPN has put out a list of players or teams rather, that they feel will regress in 2026. A couple teams were in there, the Seahawks, the Broncos, 2 really good teams, but another team that was in there. Oh, hold on. You threw off my well, damn, Tony, you might have got rid of it.
I didn't get rid of it. I moved stuff around. But I thought we were just talking about, there was no other slide about. Okay.
Yeah, this is it. This is the one.
Well, I did move it around.
Yeah, you did move it around. ESPN's Bill Barnwell has named the most likely teams to suffer a decline this upcoming season, and citing their own PFI Football Power Index and DVOA defensive adjusted value over average. Barnwell has the Panthers amongst their candidates. Advanced metrics suggest the Panthers weren't the class of the NFC South. FPI pegged the Panthers as the league's 25th best team at the end of the regular season, which was actually the worst mark for any team in the division. The Bucs were 19th, the Saints were 23rd, the Falcons were 24th, and they all looked better to the algorithm. DVOA had the Panthers 25th, only ahead of the Saints. So
Well,
more
this
and
was
more
already
media
an idiot.
disrespect.
This is a idiot thing right here. Is the idea that the Falcons aren't the bottom.
I mean, they pushed us into the playoffs.
They're both of their two first. They traded two to get into the first. Both of those guys. One's this injured for the whole year.
Yep.
One suspended for 8 games. They don't have a quarterback. They really. What are they? I think they're on a new head coach. Or is it a second-year head coach now?
No, they have Kevin Stefanski as their first year.
New head coach. Is the idea of trying to put the Falcons ahead of anybody is ludicrous right now. The only thing you could say is, well, they're the Panthers' schedule. But really, the schedule is only 2 different games or whatever. We looked at that. It's still got to play the divisions. We got to play the same out of divisions. Really, the real thing is this. The story to the NFC South is Tyler Shuck going to have a second-year season that builds on that performance he put together in those 10 games or whatever he did?
Yeah.
And that generate the excitement that not only the excitement, but they do have a coach that I feel like has been around the league that could be starting to settle in, but also second-year coach too. Is the Saints are going to dictate the narrative outside of what the Panthers can control.
Well,
then
and
you
Jordan
have the
Tyson,
Bucks.
their first-round draft pick is going to be out for the first couple weeks.
Yeah, I don't think that stinks for them and their attempt to take a giant leap forward in a sense. But I think that if you're a Saints fan, think about what the Panthers are trying to do. They're trying to build off of the progress they made the previous season. The Saints can easily point to the similar progress, but even be more excited what they believe to be a more, proven or quarterback, right? A guy that there's been no doubt in at any point yet. Like this excitement that's going, their momentum. If we have positive momentum, the Saints certainly have positive momentum too.
Yes.
Right. And so we can't just be like, so they really are, to me, the front runners they don't have as much uncertainty around them, even though they do. The Panthers have to beat themselves, have to prove. The Panthers have been their problem right now. So they don't have, and I think this is the Saints are the leader, and it's really going to be like this, is we have to be in charge of our destiny.
Well,
and 2, the Bucks, they might be level, but I don't think they're pacing so much further.
I disagree that the Saints are the leader. I still think the Panthers are the leader.
Oh, you're such a homer.
No, but this is the deal. We won the division. We were literally able to do on record.
How did we do it?
Well,
that was
the point that I made. That was the point that I made earlier. The Atlanta Falcons played better at the end of the season, which is why ESPN's FPI had them ranked better than us at the end.
It had nothing to do with the Saints,
problem
Cody.
for the Panthers were the consistency. Panthers would win a game and we would lose a game. We would win a game and we would lose a game. We could not take a dominant week of football into the next week. We would beat our own selves and shoot our own selves in the foot. Right now, to me, this division is up in the air. I think that you have to give us the benefit of the doubt as the team that won the division last year. But this is anyone's division to win. I don't trust that the New Orleans Saints have enough pieces to be able to take a step forward. They lost one of their best offensive linemen to an ACL. He's out for the year. They lost their first-round draft pick, Jordan Tyson, for the first couple of weeks of the season. And we really don't know what Tyler Shuck is yet. He started to look good at the end of the season, but he also has some real problems reading the field efficiently. I think that Carolina, if you look from top to bottom, when you account for injuries and everything else, we are the best equipped to take that next step forward. None of our starters outside of Nick Gordon were injured for the start of the season. Bryce is set to take a jump with the weapons that we put in front of him. This is Carolina's division to lose. And I'm sorry, I saw VR put it in the chat earlier. The Atlanta Falcons quarterback competition right now is abysmal. Tua Tagovailoa looks like dog shit, and Michael Penix has not looked much better either. So I don't know. I think a couple of these teams are going to be a surprise team, and a few of these teams could potentially create it, CK.
No, I agree. I mean, I think the Saints are certainly the biggest worry I have. But it doesn't mean that I think that they are going to all of a sudden turn it on. I think they still have a significant number of question marks. And Tampa right now is looking like they're about to implode based on how everything's been happening there. I know that they just paid Vita Vea, but I don't know, the way that the Baker is kind of becoming a distraction over there, and the way they're talking about how it's pretty eye opening that they're not really competitive with the Jaguars. I don't know. I'm not super convinced that they're going to be a stalwart in this in the NFC South. So I do understand why people are going to say that we're going to regress, because I mean there were plenty of times last year where we would take a step forward and then take 2 steps back. But I think ultimately we proved that we know how to win football games. And right now we're just kind of learning that lesson and still going on with it. So I don't know that I'm still thinking that it's a tighter race than I would like for the Saints to be potentially above the Panthers, but I do not think that it's there yet.
All right. I think there's some homerism in there. I don't think that the Panthers are out of like they can't compete for this, but I do think there's some homerism in that. Oh, we won the division. Look, 3 teams finished with 8 wins. What did we have last year? Did we get 9?
We were 7-9, weren't we?
2025, we were 8-9.
8-9.
The Bucks were 8-9. The Falcons were 8-9. But the Saints were 6-11, and they still arguably had the better season. They started out 1-7. 1-7, and then they finished 6-11. When it comes to the Carolina Panthers, the Panthers went 4 or 5 in their final 9 games.
Do you think that the Saints have a better roster than the Panthers?
I think this is that.
I mean, in a way, you're not wrong, because they beat us twice last year,
right?
But I'm saying for the additions that we have made versus the additions that they have made, to me, it's like 12 of one, half a dozen of the other. It's like, take your pick. If you're on the outside looking in from an outsider perspective on who the best team in this division is.
No, the fan in me wants to believe that we've made so many moves to get better. The fan in me has always looked at this as the Bucks have been kind of plateauing and ready for stagnation, which I think maybe you saw last year. And the fan in me has always said, especially in through those first 8 games 8 games that the Saints finally it's happened. Their defense stinks. Their offense, but you know what? The problem was, it turns out their offense did not put up any points at all in those first 7 games. And they put Tyler Shuck in, and all of a sudden it's different. So what I'm trying not to be is completely homeristic, is that I think they have less pressure on them. I don't think that Tyler Shuck has a shroud of negativity and contention around him. I don't think there's pressure on their head coach, and I think they're playing with house money in a way. They're playing with the easiest schedule in the division. And I just think the pressure is on the Carolina Panthers. And what the pressure has done for us is we have not risen at any point. And so right now I would be fine. I think it's like this is, I don't think that the Panthers should be odds on favorite above anybody in the division other than Falcons. But I see a world where the Panthers win this division again, but truly win it But this also has to do with the Saints. Really, it's our destiny. We have to take care of our destiny. I don't think that the Saints are inherently going to be a worse team than they were last year. And the Panthers need to inherently be a better team than they were last year.
Yeah, and mind you, we just played the Jacksonville Jaguars, beat them 34-17, and now the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're going head-to-head with the Jaguars, and their first team didn't look like they were doing too good. Baker Mayfield went to the podium and said today was eye-opening. He said he thought we were out physical. So I don't know if the Jaguars are just
I think they're
really good on their first.
I think they are.
Yeah, I mean, I did too.
They gave us fits early.
Yeah, let's be fair. Their first team offense was dicing up our defense too. Trevor Lawrence went 11 of 19 and had like 4 touchdowns or something.
And it was basically like we went through this whole practice, and you saw the tweets from Dunk on Demand, you saw them from Sheena, you saw them for the people that were there, and the Panthers offense. I mean, the Panthers team was just ultimately, and particularly the offense, struggling in the beginning, and it was at the end, in the back end, that they were able to put together some things that gave like hope and desire, or like this, that you didn't walk away like Baker walked away. But to me, I mean, look, the Panthers got to go out there. There's the thing about this is who gives a shit what other teams are doing? You know, is if
you have to go and earn
you have to go and win 10 games.
Yeah, take it. Take it. No more asking questions. It's what I said earlier, Tony. We have to bring dominant football week after week. I'm done with this. Oh, win one game that we weren't supposed to win, like we beat the Rams, like we beat the Packers, and then you just deliver a fucking stinker the next week at home against the New Orleans Saints. You can't do that shit, man.
And Tyler Shuck did it against that was where he
did.
The momentum was against the Carolina Panthers, if you remember.
He did. And man,
his rookie debut.
Yeah. VR the Hope Dealer has been a member for 17 months. Shout out to the bro. He says, don't believe the hype. The division is up for grabs. Vegas Panthers drew with 5. Says, trouble with ranking the division is no clear best quarterback in the division other than the Falcons are last. King me. So,
all right, again, and he's got one more. Thank you again for your support.
Tony, you also have to remember the Saints are not sneaking up on anyone next year. Every team has tape on Shuck, and we will see how good he really is. That's a great point. He was a wild card of a second rounder. So now teams are going to have a little more info on him. And again, they're going to know all of his deficiencies too. So teams are going to have a better game plan of attack against Shuck. And this is going to be a big year for him.
I agree. I don't think the Saints should be toasted and crowned. That's not what, but by any means, please do not take it that way. I just think that in some ways, how about this is think about what Bryce Young had to do coming into last season after being benched, right? He was benched the year before. And like he has to like prove to himself and to his teammates and things like the Panthers have more than just their opponents to defeat right now. Dave Canales, Bryce Young, Ajiro Evero themselves are the ones they have to overcome. And I don't think that it's kind of like, I almost feel like at least with Shuck is the guys going in there without having sucked yet. Like he might have a shitty second season, but he might feel invincible. And right now, I promise you that Dave Canales and Bryce Young are nervous. And not nervous like they can't do what can't, but is they know that it fucking matters.
Yeah, well, again, they beat us twice last year. And Shuck did have a couple bad games to start his career. But then at the end of the season, he looked okay and he started to turn it on.
His first game was against the Panthers, and he put it on us.
No, I don't think that was his first game.
I think so. Let's see. I'll look it up. All right,
keep going. So, okay. The Panthers and Jaguars, to wrap this up, Man, what a difference two guards makes. Huh? I mean, listen, after not having them for the previous game out there against the Buffalo Bills, not having Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis, and we barely did anything. And then we had them. It was like those two players against the Jaguars provided the momentum for us to go out there and look really good. And look, let's also be real. Kenny Pickett looked good in that game too. I think Kenny Pickett started to look more and more like a serviceable backup quarterback in the NFL. So, we have some good things. And how about the first ever NFL touchdown from Jonathan Brooks? I really feel we have the potential to have a two-headed monster on this team this year between Chuba Hubbard and Jonathan Brooks. If these two guys can run angry and efficient like they have in the past, Chuba a couple of years ago for Carolina and Brooks with Texas, this has the potential to be a lethal rushing attack. Tony CK, what I'm interested to see is what the split is going to be. Like, are we going to be 60% run?
Yeah,
60% run, 40%
or what's
pass?
the split between the two running backs too?
Yeah, because they're telling us that Chuba's the starter.
Yeah, of course they're going to say that, and he is. And it's kind of like, do you remember last year he was the starter until he suffered a little injury and Rico had a great game. You were right. Tyler Shuck's first start was on the road against the Rams, who were like undefeated at the time he did. They lost 34-10. But coming off of that, he comes into Carolina, his second start, and I don't know, you're sitting there thinking the Panthers are about to put two games together. I think we were coming off that Packers game or something. We beat somebody good, and so you're right as this, but he did talk about starting your rookie quarterback against a tough team. Look, I don't know if that's the wisest move. Now, get back to what you're talking about, the running back. CK, I was asked a tough question because we were I'm talking with these fantasy on the radio with CW, who is the Shield guy, who is also fantasy guru guy, who's in 77 right now. Currently, he's at 77 fantasy leagues.
No, thank you.
But he does best ball, so you just draft it and you stick with that team all year. I mean, he's got some other ones. It's insane what he in the way that he thinks and analyzes, and it's like, ADP. He knows ADP for every person and things like this. He asked me, he said, who do you think by the end of the year will have more carries? Jonathan Brooks or Chuba Hubbard? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't even know. Like, is it going to be 200 care of this or 180? I don't even know what the number would be. I was like on the spot. All I could say is this, and to Cody's point, is that Chuba is the proven good enough our guy. It turns out, you know what? Chuba Hubbard has played in more games for the Carolina Panthers than Christian McCaffrey did. That's interesting stat right there.
I mean, it's not when you really think about how much Christian McCaffrey was really injured throughout his career with us.
Yeah, but you think Christian McCaffrey, and then you think Chuba Hubbard.
I know.
And then Chuba Hubbard also went through a spell where he was not early beloved by particularly.
It was
me after year one and some different things, and he's gotten better. But I don't know. My answer to him was this: is like I think that if Jonathan Brooks is healthy and becomes what he can be, what we think he can be when he's healthy, that at some point in the season, week 6, week 8, week 10, I don't know, is that the number will flip to where it's 12 carries for Chuba, 8 for Jonathan Brooks. I think that number at some point will flip to 14 and 8, vice versa. What do you think?
To me, health. Well, go ahead, CK.
I mean, I think that this is going to be another scenario where we start to see that Jonathan Brooks is clearly the better back, and I think I don't think that means Chuba is going to lose all reps, but I think that they're going to shift heavily by the end of the year to more of a priority to Jonathan Brooks' side of things. Personally, I think that at the end of the year,
when does it happen? Do you think?
I think it's going to happen before week 5.
Wow, early.
But I still think Chuba is going to have a position. I think Chuba might be the third down back that comes in just to kind of get the extra yardage. But I think what Jonathan Brooks offers out of the backfield,
but he's a better catch patch. Like on third down, unless
that's why he's the starter. You trust?
No,
Chuba
I think that in pass catching situations, I think if you were gonna like basically say
pass
is
catching
like
or pass protection,
pass catch. Well, like as this is,
I think
you almost run Chuba Hubbard in the first 2 downs early in the season, and you put in Jonathan Brooks on the third down. And then I'm not saying short yardage. I'm not saying a short yardage back. I'm talking about a guy that all of a sudden becomes a pass catching threat that can catch a 3-yarder, get 7 out of it. We know that Chuba's weakness in the earliest career was ultimately being a pass catching back. So you have this. You think of like Buffalo, who has James Cook, but they also have these other guys that's like, oh, we might put this other kind of scatty back in on third down. But I think, CK, I mean, to your point, will it be very similar to last year? Is like both guys are trying to split it, and then there's a convenient injury as one pulls ahead.
Yeah. I mean,
so listen, I'm going to say this. Can we just be honest about this? We're all hoping that Jonathan Brooks is the better running back. We're all hoping that he can do what old buddy last year, Rico Dowdle, did. Come out
plus
here
more.
And just have an incredible game and just seal it, because he's not going anywhere next year. He's going to be on the roster for at least the next 2 years. And look, I've been a long-time Chuba Hubbard defender. You guys can vouch for me on that. But I know that a lot of the fandom is very hot and cold on him. Tony, you've said last year that, he's not a home run hitter. And no one has ever accused Chuba Hubbard of being that. So if Jonathan Brooks can come out and assert some dominance and really show himself to be a bell cow running back early, then Tony, I think that could happen a lot sooner in this season than even maybe you're thinking. Maybe that flip from Chuba being the starting running back and Brooks being number 2, I think that might flip-flop a little earlier in the season if they show that the hot hand is indeed Brooks. And I know a lot of fans want that. I want that as well. The best case scenario is that we could have a 2-headed beast where both guys are just gashing teams for 100+ yard performances. But I don't know.
It's hard to figure out how to divvy that up. We saw that last year, is that when Chuba Hubbard came back and they did this like one series to one guy, one this, then they tried to do one down, is the 2-headed monster is a rarity because running backs have to get some rhythm. You give them one carry in the offensive line and you don't get anything. You put the other guy in. All right. So if Jonathan Brooks stays healthy, right, which I know that we get so locked into somebody's injury prone. We could have been like that about JC Horn, right? Is you could just say, oh, he's injury prone, but these were different injuries. Just say in a world right now, Jonathan Brooks plays the entire season. Who finishes with more carries?
It's so hard to say right now, man.
I think it's going to be Jonathan Brooks personally.
Because if he's healthy, you think that he's going to be
again. That's what I'm saying.
Excelling as a younger player.
We're all hoping that it's Jonathan Brooks because he is the younger player, and it did appear as though in college he had a much wider skill set than Chuba.
I'm not even saying it for that reason. personally. I'm saying it for the reason that when I saw Chuba Hubbard last year, he took a step back. Like, he was not the same guy that earned the contract.
Well, he did get better. Like, as he got healthier, he looked better. And Rico Dowdle kind of declined. My boy Kev says we've already gotten great value out of Chuba. So it's almost like not about Chuba. It's about can Brooks supplant. You know, it's Chuba's going to be Chuba, right? Like he is the player he's going to be. Can Brooks take carries away is an interesting question. Cody, let's keep pushing forward, man, because we're just squeezing a lot.
I'm following your lead because you put some of these. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what we did is we're coming off of, and we're going to get to Jim Zoki, Carolina Panthers radio network, in just a little while and get some of his insight into the roster. You can check out the full interview with him on Spotify and iTunes. I'll be putting it up on YouTube. It's an audio only interview. But one of the things is that I was kind of asking ultimately is what are the Panthers, really the same questions we've been dealing with on the podcast is what are you trying to learn in the preseason? What have the Panthers learned from the preseason? And this isn't related to that interview, but look, we come out in the Hall of Fame game. There's sparks are flying. There's optimism. You're coming off a good draft, a good free agency. Everything seems like, and then the Hall of Fame game, Brad Idzik's creating space. The offense, it's like we are moving forward so we can continue to note that kind of optimism is like, oh man, data verification. But then we get into preseason game 2 against the Buffalo Bills. And, and Zoki pointed this out is he said the Bills don't usually play their starters in the preseason. I did ask him about Joe Brady and were they trying to bring a little juice to show consummate this stadium? Was Joe Brady trying to give it to the Panthers? Was DJ Moore in a sense trying to give it to the Panthers? But after that game, man, real quick, I'm usually I feel like with CK more on the middle ground on a lot of things. And I was like, this is a fan setback for my optimism. This is the preseason I'm used to seeing. We saw our starters go out there 3 and out. And I'm waiting. When is the time we're going to get better? But then you go and you have joint practices with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now you do play a Jaguars team that did not play their starters, but our starters had to go out there. Dave Canales, a little egg on their face. Our offense, a little egg on their face. And they made up for it a little bit. Right? We could after that Jags preseason game, regardless of who we were playing on their team, we come away and say, that's it. Jonathan Brooks, touchdown, completions, Tedero McMillan down there. This is from NFL.com, I believe. I pulled this. What we can learn from this game. Let me see if I got to make it bigger so I can read it. This is just what you can learn from preseason game 2 for them, 3 for us. Panthers starting offense gets on the board, they write. Bryce Young didn't manage a scoring drive in 3 tries during preseason opener against the Buffalo Bills. His first possession against Jacksonville was much the same, with only first down coming on a defensive pass interference, but Carolina got its butt in gear after that. Young and most of the team's starter began drive number 2 on their own 42-yard line. Good field position, by the way. Thank you. They took 7 plays to go, another 58. Jonathan Brooks started the possession with an 11-yard run, which, look, we're like, oh, look at those. Robert Hunt's back. Now the line's cooking. We can see the offensive line in the run game going, and punctuated with a 1-yard touchdown score. Welcome sight after running back's previous ACL injuries, they write. In between, Young looked as composed as he has in the pocket this preseason. Fantasy owners will also be happy to know that Young exhibited good chemistry and looked Tedero McMillan's way. I could have told you that. That's all he feels like he ever throws to. hitting second-year wideout with a 17-yarder to get them into the red zone and going right back to him for 8 more yards on 1st and goal from the 9. The Jags were resting their starters, but that doesn't diminish the importance of Young and company getting reacquainted with the end zone. It also doesn't hurt that Carolina went on to put a 34-point shellacking on Jacksonville before the game was called. 2 minutes remaining to severe weather. I'll hold off on what we read about Jacksonville, but we needed this, right, Cody? That's
Absolutely.
what we talked about on the watch along, is whether they're playing the starters or not. The Panthers, the players, the coaches, the fans, this kind of gave us some breath.
It did. And I know that we were playing the backups for Jacksonville, but I also think that, Tony, remember when you were arguing, do we need to see the offense get the touchdown or, 3 yards per carry or whatever it was? When your offense is able to march down against a team's second team defense, like, that's the least that you could do is get into the end zone. And I think
did what they were supposed to do.
Right, they did what they were supposed to do. I like seeing the use of Jonathan Brooks. I like seeing that the continued connection between Bryce and T-Mac is strong. That's going to continue to be a big-time target this year for Bryce. And, again, those two big offensive linemen between Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis, Tony, after it was announced that Brian Burns was number 14 on the NFL top 100 list and had like 16 sacks or whatever it was, and the people were crying, oh, we should have never got rid of Brian Burns. Burns was never doing that here. I agree with our boy White Chocolate. This system was never going to be the one for Burns to thrive. And number 2, you would not have those two guys, Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis, if it was not for shipping off Spider-Man up to New York where he belongs. So to me, seeing how much those two dudes mean to the offense is heartening, because I know everyone's scared about what happens if they get injured, but man, think about what if we stay healthy. If we can stay healthy, we have the potential to have one of the more dominant offensive lines in the NFL this year. Now, I know that's saying a lot, but I don't see why there's any reason why we shouldn't. And we'll get into Sam Hecht later on, who's already starting to build a name for himself, too.
CK, they said that I saw Dave Canales said, look, as long as the starters get their work put in this joint practice, unless they don't, then they might see some time in the postseason in the 4th game.
Yeah.
Jim Zoki said when I talked to him today, he said, look, is nobody teams aren't playing their starters in this game anyway. Like, the new preseason, he didn't say that, but the 1st and 2nd week is when you will see them at some point. Week 3 now is what week 4 used to be. Without that performance, though, by this Carolina Panthers offense, right, is from the guys that we needed. I'm not saying that the Panthers would have started or should have started or played Bryce Young or any of these guys in this game. But boy, doesn't it take a little breath, like a little weight off your shoulders? Imagine if they wouldn't have been able to, kind of like muster up something in between what they did between Buffalo and what they did against Jacksonville. Like, how do you walk into the season just confident with your chest out? I think the Panthers needed this. While it might not have been incredible or say anything because they weren't playing starters, if they wouldn't have had this, it would have mentally crushing for not only fans, but maybe for them.
100% would have been crushing. Because I think they just based on the way they were talking after that game, it was clear that we were not a ready team yet. I think that it spoke to me that these guys took that personally, and to be fair to these players, many of them want to play in every game. Like, even though that we don't want to see them, I mean, the fact that Derek Brown wants to play instead, of being on the sidelines tells me that dude's a leader and he wants to be out there every opportunity he can. So I mean, I think these guys needed that 100%. I think you are absolutely correct on what you're saying there, Tony. I just don't know what that ultimately means for the success of this team moving forward, because we still have so many questions about whether or not we're going to start fast, or that's been kind of the Achilles heel of this team, is not really knowing where we stand with many of these at least at the very beginning of this season, because we have not been a good team at the very beginning of the year by any measure.
Imagine if they wouldn't have played well, the starters.
Oh, it would have been devastating, dude. Like you said.
Like, what that now would Canales be like? We need to try to. Do you walk into the last preseason game and just say, screw it, we believe in what we're doing? Or do you need to see some first downs or something? Thank God for that performance. And to think about how much we're jumping for joy, and they didn't even do it on the first set of downs.
Yeah.
But they showed competency in this. But the Panthers now are heading into the fourth preseason game, Cody, and they are really going to be fighting. We're about to get into this about the roster and the bubbles and position groups. But right now, I pulled this up. Pull the presentation back up. This is off of Panthers.com. Kind of like what's going on right now. I forget the name of the story that was up, but a section of it was injury updates, and there are plenty. And one of the cool things is some of these injury updates, I think, are slightly positive. I didn't copy that section. And don't like to see this. Devin Lloyd, going against his team, his former team, played hard in those joint practice. Devin Lloyd, came out, was just really sore, according to Canales, coming out of joint practices, which is why he didn't play Friday night. Yeah. That lingered. Canales said as he spent the weekend getting some intensive treatment on his knee and was doing well. We don't foresee this being something that's going to hinder him long term. We better keep an eye, fans, right now. Go ahead and clock this right now, because we need Devin Lloyd to be 17 games and potentially in the playoffs for us. We don't need any knee soreness being a problem. Shut this mug down right away until week 1. But Canales said it was a good moment, an opportunity for us to take advantage of this window to get him all the way back. So they rested him in this game, and they're resting him probably and now for the remainder. He said Chuba Hubbard remains on track to return for the regular season opener. The plan was for wide receiver Xavier Legette, who now has a foot issue. It was the stinger, right? It was the stinger before. He's in a walking boot for the rest of the week and hopes of having him ready for the following week leading into the regular season. Safety Latham Ransom, defensive tackle Cam Jackson in concussion protocol practiced in non-contact jersey. I think that's good right there. If they can get out there and move around, that means that their symptoms are waning, right? Like that. Bam Martin Scott worked on the sideline. Wide receiver Jasim Reed returned to practice on Monday. And the part I did not copy in was Nick Scorton and was it Brazel? Both Chris had Brazel? Surgeries and participating in now, not participating, but in their rehabilitation. The Carolina Panthers, while these injuries are kind of prevalent, guys, in some ways, I think that hopefully maybe we're on the mend, and the big injuries in the beginning, we're starting to get Robert Hunt back. We're starting to get Damian Lewis. Moton could be coming back, right? Is the team maybe getting stronger in the background? How will this shake out with the roster, Cody, as we go forward? Let's go ahead and talk about that.
So I want to make sure, but I didn't forget the Sea Dog with the 2 says the longest running Panthers podcast on YouTube. Appreciate you, brother. And then VR the Hope Dealer with the 199 says Bryce don't have Andy now. He is the quarterback. Prove it. Love that. And Tony, listen, I know the injuries are a part of the game. If anything, I'm happy that we're getting them out of the way. If XL is going to be hurt, do it a little earlier in the season. Get it out of the way now. Because this is a deep wide receiver room. And, eventually we're going to talk about this wide receiver room and how many receivers we're going to keep, who it's going to be. That's been a topic of conversation, too, because different Panthers beat reporters and analysts all believe different receivers are going to make it. Some think Mechie will make it. Some think Bryson Tremaine will make it. But we need a full arsenal of wide receivers this year, and especially when you lose Chris Brazzell, who was already looking to be a big part of this offense before he got injured. XL has to step up, and I'm telling you, in order for him to live up to that first-round pick draft stock, he has to prove himself to be a number 2 wide receiver. If that feels too lofty to some people, I do not care. He has to be the second best option on this receiving core outside of T-Mac. And
that's not going to happen. Coker's already going to be ahead.
Well, then
Coker's a better player.
If that's the truth, then we can already start calling that pick a miss. Because if he's not the number 2 on your team, then I really don't understand what his purpose actually is. He has to be looked at as a deep threat that opposing offenses or defenses rather have to be mindful of burning them over the top, because if not, then what is his purpose? He's not that super shifty, cut on a dime type of wide receiver. So then what is his role? If it's just some third wide receiver, then you're already calling that man replaceable. We are banking on the fact that going into this season that we have not seen the best of Xavier Legette in this offense. We have to see far more than what we have seen from him. And him being injured like this, that's not good for that amount of progress.
CK, I have not been an XL hater by any means. I've been a XL supporter, I guess you would say. I hope that he's going to become excited in some ways. Now, as these injuries continue to nick, that makes it more difficult for him to do what he has to do. When you hear Cody lay out what it requires for him to be what in his mind is a success, I'm going to say I don't believe that. It's not that I don't believe in him. I don't believe that he's going to be better than Coker. In like a deep threat, Coker, hands, Coker, route running. Like, I think Coker is easily setting in and not only becoming a number 2, is the number 2. If the question is XL if he's just a 3, he's a failure, then I'm gonna have to say if that's the criteria, CK, I don't think he can be successful.
I mean, I won't say that I don't think he can be successful. I do think that there is a world where he's able to
be better than Coker.
I think he's able to be at least a quality piece on this team. I by no means am prepared to put him in the category of being as good or anything like that as Coker is, just because I think Coker has shown that for 2 years now, he has shown to be a superior wide receiver. So I'm 100% not prepared to say that at all right now. Yeah, but I do think that he can continue to grow into his role as a maybe a slot guy or something along those lines.
Yeah, I don't know if I think Cody brings up a very difficult question, is that if he is only a 3,
yeah,
right, and you don't have the shiftiness to be a slot guy. I think maybe, I guess your hope is you put XL on the outside, you put Coker on the outside, and you put T-Mac in the slot. But I just don't see a world right now. For me, I'm shocked by your statement on that. But I think it's a good statement, Cody. Is
Yeah.
like, is like the measuring point, because I don't. For me, I think I'm like, oh, XL, don't give up on him. He can be a part, like CK says. He can be a part. Like, we haven't seen the best of him or something like that. But I don't think right now I see a world where the best of XL is better than the best of Jalen Coker. So if that is the criterion, that's very difficult for me.
Yeah.
To kind of swallow and put that pill in. Let's go to this depth chart. This is.
I did want to read this comment before we move on. I think it's poignant from Kristen Butler. She says, XL doesn't fit. Bryce never looks for him either. We're doing a disservice not trading XL at this point. And see, that's another conundrum, because I don't even know that, even in spite of all of the names that we have on this receiving chart right now, I don't even know that you can just get rid of XL and not have a gaping hole in your offensive lineup. Like, I don't think that the Panthers can afford to trade him. I think this is do or die. And I know that seems like a very tall order, Tony, but he basically has to prove himself to be the number 2 over Jalen Coker this year. And I understand people that don't think he's going to do that.
I think even if he had a great season, I still don't. All right, I don't think it was going to happen. Let's go to what the Panthers put out as their initial depth chart, and then we'll go to Jim Zoki, Panthers Radio Network, and I asked him about that receiver group, because our darlings that we talk about, right, there's a bubble there. Is the Panthers probably are not going to keep 7 receivers this year.
Did you want me to pull the one that like has a list of all the depth charts and who made it and who didn't?
This is the slide 11 is
okay.
The Panthers
I got you.
Put out their depth chart going into this final preseason game, and we'll focus on this. I guess there's 2 things. This is the offense that we're looking at. CK, when you look at the offense and you want to know about depth, it's funny now that we're not really overly talking about the offensive line right now.
Right.
Because we had a moment where we saw Damian Lewis and Robert Hunt out there that just said, oh, take a breath if our starters are there. But I do think this is like really, if we're looking at the 2 position groups that I look at, that I want to look at depth here, are wide receiver and tight end. Like his bubble, that's where there's roster bubble action. Right now they have, obviously, Tet is listed as number 1, right? Wide receiver. They have, I guess, what you say they put out are they saying they're going to put a 3 receiver pattern out? Or it says this: Tet, Jalen Coker, XL are their tops.
Sure.
So XL is implanted, right? Whether that is draft pick part, whatever, they believe in him. And then you go behind that. You got Bryson Germain, David Moore, and Jimmy Horn Jr. on the second line. Jasim Reed, John Mechie, and is there a third? Oh, that's it. So I think that gives us some insight right there. Oh, where is our guy, Bryson Tremaine?
So who put this out?
This is from Carolina Panthers, from Panthers.com.
Yeah,
this
dude.
Is their listed depth chart.
They like what? It's like I told you, dude. They like David Moore. They like Bryson Tremaine. I like John Mechie up there, but dude, I think even Horn not being on this team is a little bit of a surprise. But I'm not.
Right, so you're gonna keep say we keep 6, 1, 2, and 3 right there. McMillan, Coker, Leggett are locked in.
I mean,
three more.
It would be silly for us to think that Horn isn't going to make this team. They literally have had him be the only person doing kick returns or punt returns.
Yeah, I mean, you have to look at those two different things. So, do you guys want to delve into this wide receiver group a little bit? We can ask Zoki here what he thinks about. We have two ways we can tackle this. Is where does he think the pressure points are just overall? Where do you think they might have to slim down in position groups, or do you want to talk about specific players? So do you want to just go overall roster, or do you want to go receivers? I mean, I feel like we're talking receivers here.
Yeah, we're talking receivers. This is the receivers.
All right. This is Jim Zoki today. You can find. I'd like to welcome in. Hold on. Jim. You can find. This might not be the right clip, actually. Hold on. All right. I'd like to. Nope. All right. You guys give me a second. Carry on for a second.
CK, is there
wide receiver group?
Is there a wide receiver
Pressures
that you
on
would
another-
like to see making this?
Making
this roster.
I wouldn't hate to see Mechie.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if we can get younger, I mean, again, the idea that David Moore would be over top of Mechie is wild. Right. And that's not because I think Mechie has shown some outstanding like performance on this team. I just like David Moore has, I mean, his time is up, dude. Like we can say that there's a moment in time when a football player's time is done. And while I love the veteran presence, I just don't know that I love the idea of passing up on a potential guy versus a guy who is, in my opinion, I think we all could agree based on what we saw on that preseason game, just past his prime.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I'm still banking on there's some magic left to be squeezed out of the connection between Bryce Young and John Mechie.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he had over 1,000 receiving yards at Alabama with Bryce. I think that Bryce is very much the time or the type of quarterback where he likes to throw to where he knows his receiver is going to be. He wants to have that kind of trust that my guy is there when I reach this step of my drop, and he wants to get the ball out of his hands. And I feel that he had that kind of trust and built that kind of trust with John Mechie. I don't know that, you know, to this day, if he's ever gotten anywhere close to that with someone like Xavier Legette. And I don't know all the reasons why, but it does seem like there is something there between Mechie and
All right. I asked Jim Zoki about this wide receiver group today. You guys can find the full interview on Spotify and iTunes right now. It'll be on YouTube tomorrow, audio version only. Jim Zoki been with the team since they're there. He's the Panthers radio.
Yep, that's the gamble you have. So, I mean, the ones that are known will be on the roster are obviously Tedero McMillan, Jalen Coker, Xavier Legette, I would say, and then Bryson Tremaine, because, again, they value him that he can do so many different things. So those are the four you know. And they keep saying, like, they've kept 7 at times at receiver, but
you
it
can
looks
hear
like
it all
a year
right.
where they'll probably have room for 6, which only leaves 2 more out of a group that would include John Mechie, Jimmy Horn, Jasim Reed, and David Moore. So I think David Moore being so much of an opportunity here because you want to look at some of these younger guys. And they all those guys I mentioned can be return guys. Mechie, Horn, Reed, and even David Moore all can do returning. So I think, to me, I look at it's going to be, you know, which 2 of the 3, unless they keep 7 receivers, you know, Mechie, Horn, and Reed. And just think, we're doing this without Chris Brazzell, who definitely would have been on the roster.
Yeah.
And that's a great problem to have, is that many guys. So I would think of, you know, Mechie, Horn, and Reed, probably try to stash one of those on the practice squad. And I think, you know, Jimmy Horn has elevated his play from last year. He looks good in the return game. He looks good as a receiver right now. He's put on some weight. I feel good about his chances. So to boil it down right to the dub, I would say probably comes down to John Mechie versus Jasim Reed as being which one will be that last active one. And I think after that, if you wouldn't keep both on the active 53, just because there's some duplication there, that you would try to stash one of them on the practice squad. And I wouldn't have said this a few weeks ago, but maybe it's Reed, just because Mechie's a little bit more known around the league, and he's got that connection going back to Alabama with Bryce. So I like what Reed's doing, but it's a great problem to have whichever way they go.
Do you think there's a all right? So the thing though that I come away from with is this minds at all when they're trying to approach playing, is that when I talked to Zoki today, is he just said Tet, Coker, XL are locked in.
Yeah,
he believes that Bryson Tremaine is going to make the roster, is also more of a lock because of his versatility ultimately in different sets in offense and like special teams and some different things. To me, he felt like this is, I asked him about David Moore. He thinks David Moore, that veteran status isn't going to win for him, but he was saying this: Panthers, he believes, are going to keep 6 receivers. Go ahead, in his mind, Tet, Jalen, XL, Tremaine. Now you get 2 more. And that 2 more being, is it David Moore and Jimmy Horn Jr.? Is it Jimmy Horn Jr. and John Mechie? Is it Jimmy Horn Jr. and Jasim Reed? Is it David Moore and, and that's the case right there. So XL right now is locked into this offense. And Cody, you've put some high standards on what it means for him to be successful this year. I think that's beyond that. Cody, we go on to another topic of this. If you go to, let's talk about what's the other thing you want to know about this offensive line? How about this? You want to hear about the tight end group?
Yeah, let's do that.
This is interesting right here because this is where the bubble player. All right, I'd like to welcome none of my clips. Okay, introduce it when I get to the clip because I have to find it. They did not segment. They just downloaded the whole.
I think that
what do you think about the tight end group and who's on the?
You muted yourself. Oh, okay, on purpose.
I think because.
All right, yeah. This tight end group, I mean, listen, Darren Waller, even though he hasn't been on the team but for, a week now, jumped to the number 1 tight end position easily. I mean, the dude's a 2-time Pro Bowler. And then I think Mitchell Evans has earned the right to be number 2. I think that Mitchell Evans looked good in a bunch of games last year. I think Bryce felt comfortable getting the football to him. And he's a road grader, man. Do something about those Notre Dame tight ends, which I know Tommy Tremble is also. But to me, Ja'Tavion Sanders is kind of looking to be the odd man out. Like he's going to really need an opportunity to have a big season this year, or at least a big rest of training camp. Because I kind of think that we're going to end up carrying 3, maybe 4 tight ends, and I think he's probably on the end of that list.
Yeah,
I think
the
there's some
question
other
is,
guys that are higher up than Sanders.
Will you carry 5? Here's Jim Zoki when I asked him about the tight ends, special teams, and how that kind of factors in here is they go in and bring Darren Waller in at that tight end group. The tight end group has been historically bad for the Carolina Panthers since 2018. Haven't had a receiving threat of over 300 yards. Haven't had the whole room put together 600 yards receiving or more. The Panthers kind of went into this season saying we're going to work with what we got, but where are we at it with that tight end? Is there pressure? Felipe Franks, you said, I mean, he's been celebrated in camp and he's making these plays. Is that putting pressure on a player like Ja'Tavion Sanders, or is that room? Do they need all those bodies there?
Yeah, I think what you got there is kind of a collection of guys that bring different things. And Darren Waller coming in brings a 6'6", basically pass-catching red zone presence that nobody else has. To me, Tommy Tremble is kind of a veteran guy who's been with this program for a while and can do both. He can block, he can pass catch when needed, and be a bit of a red zone threat. Mitchell Evans, same thing, where I think he came in as a blocker, but he's got the ability to catch a couple when you need it, so that he's not so predictable on the field. That's another thing is, you don't want to look at what tight ends on the field and go, oh, run play, pass play. And to your point about J.T. Sanders, I think he's the one that's kind of on the bubble out of all that group because he can block a little bit, but he's much more of a pass catcher than he is a blocker. And because all the guys I mentioned have some degree of ability to catch the ball, especially Darren Waller, it kind of diminishes the need there since he's not a special teams guy. And so I think J.T. Sanders is the one that's kind of like, well, you're not going to keep 5 tight ends. And probably same for James Mitchell being in that spot. You would think, to begin the season anyway, Waller, Tremble, Evans, Felipe Franks are 4. All of a sudden, J.T. Sanders looks like the 5th tight end there. So it'll be interesting to see if it plays out that way, what they end up doing with them.
Crazy. Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't have thought that just a couple of months ago or even going into last season. Let's turn to this. Oh, I guess one last thing about the offense. I mean, look, I'd love to talk about Jonathan Brooks and how if he's a breakout star, this team just.
So I don't think.
Yeah. What were you saying, Cody?
Yes, I don't think Tony wanted us to go further than the tight ends. We didn't even mention Felipe Franks. Felipe Franks is a guy. I muted you, Tony. I didn't know if you wanted to go all the way far past the. I can't hear you.
I realized. Thank you for muting me, and that's why you're the producer. I realized what I did. I spent an hour cutting these clips up, but there are 2 options in Audacity: export or export selected, and I hit export on every single one. So I thought I was cutting clips up, and I just exported the entire audio each time.
Well, but based off of what you said, do we think there's a scenario where Felipe Franks makes this roster over J.T. Sanders?
I think he thinks so. I think he thinks that that's a real possibility.
What do we think? Because I don't know if they're just ready to outright give up on JT, but then I don't think that you want to cut a better player in favor of him.
He referenced the importance of playing 2 position groups, right? That's what goes for Jimmy Horn Jr. and John Mechie in trying to make this team, and Bryson Tremaine, is that they're not just receivers. And again, can a receiver only play one thing? You bring in John Mechie at receiver, you bring in Jimmy Horn Jr. Are they too duplicative? Bryson Tremaine can maybe play on the outside or in the slot if something came up and play special teams. When you're talking about tight ends, Darren Waller, is it Darren Waller or Darren Wallin?
Darren
Waller is a pass catching threat, right? And he referenced Tommy Tremble as kind of a more versatile. He didn't look at Jatavian Sanders as a blocking tight end. He looked at him as a pass catching tight end where you have people that can do that, but he's also not contributing on special teams. I think this is what I've been thinking about this a little bit is while XL is the number 1 draft pick and you trade it up and they have the 5th round option, he's going to get more leeway. We talked about Panther fans on Twitter and in the chat. A lot of them have been, there's some AJ Dillon stumpers out there, right? And that, is it Trevor Etienne? Oh, is it, man? It's like, why you guys got to get me to Trevor Etienne? Is like, at how much is there a point where the Panthers could potentially just be holding on to players because they drafted them rather than what's best for the moment? And I don't know. I think that question could come about when we think about Etienne and AJ Dillon. But I think that's what the Felipe Franks, Jatavian Sanders discussion ultimately is. Are you holding on to Jatavian Sanders because you drafted him or because he gives you a better chance to be better? And I think that Jatavian Sanders could find himself on the bubble here.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think Jatavian Sanders absolutely is on the bubble. I think that from what we saw, every other person on this roster that's a tight end has had more promise than what we've seen from JT. Now, there's been moments of flair from JT, but at the end of the day, I think he's been pretty mediocre. And I don't want that to come across like insensitive to, the fact that he's dealt with injury his time here. But I mean, even with Evan Mitchell coming in, Evan Mitchell felt like he has more of a chance to hit in this roster than JT Sanders. In my opinion, I think having the Darren Waller thing is almost just like that's who you hope JT could have been, was a Darren Waller type player. So it'll be interesting to see how they value him. But I do think he's a bubble player. I don't think he is a guaranteed lock.
I guess the ultimate question is at what point does holding on to a draft pick because you believed in them then, like at what is the point where the sunk cost fallacy there? And has he progressed enough? And I think that if you want to give anything, is XL's going to get a lot more leeway in a sense.
Yeah, he's first round draft pick.
But you don't want to cut your nose off to spite your face, but you also don't want to do something that's necessary and you can get better. And there's going to be some tough decisions here. If you think, where will the tough decision be? Right? Like, where is it that you're going to be? Would you rather keep Jimmy Horn Jr. over Jatavian Sanders? Like, would you rather, where is the pressure point? I asked Jim Zoki that. You can check that out on Spotify. Cody, we got to get through some more of the work. You want to hit some cat calls right now?
Let's do it.
The number is 252-228-5098. You can be a part of the longest running Panthers podcast. I apologize that the clips were not clipped correctly tonight. My mother's 70th birthday today. Happy birthday, Joanne Noni, caller of the show, wonderful person, and my biggest supporter, more than she should be. Happy birthday to you. We celebrated on Sunday, but I did have to do long day at work, and also I went and did extra birthday stuff. So I'm running in there, and I screwed the clips up, but we're not going to screw the calls up, Cody. The number's 252-228-5098. Let's get into these cat calls.
Let's do it.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use
one? Yo, what's going on, C3 Panthers from Charlotte? Hope you boys have a good Tuesday, man. Kind of want to call real quick.
Why do you
man, season's right around the corner, man. Thought the starters played fine last preseason. Nothing big to take away. They played fine. The O-line looks good. T-Mac in the slot looks cool. Hope he has a big season along with Coker and Bryce in the offense. But yeah, night and day difference with those guards in there. Monroe Freeling continues to shine. Sam Hecht looks good. Looks like we could potentially have.
Keep going.
Or center of the future, starting next year when Fortner's contract's up. Overall, was satisfied with the preseason. If they don't play again, I thought Canales did it the right way. I think they got a lot more reps this preseason, and they ended on a high note. Hopefully we hear good things in joint practice tomorrow. The blueprint comes out tomorrow. I'm so hyped to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Excited for the season, man. I'll be going week 1. I'll be cheering on our Panthers. I copped this Mint Street Apparel shirt, and it's got like the Cam banging the drum. So excited about that, man. Just wanted to call in and ask where everyone's heads at before the season. Like, how are we feeling? Are we feeling optimistic? Are we feeling pessimistic? Man, these injuries
Oh, God.
across the
Is
league
that
have been
his
crazy.
No.
I know we lost some guys, some other players that we also knew weren't gonna, be ready at the beginning of the year. But the Saints players have been dropping like flies. The Bucks players, and then the Falcons, are just a joke. Don't even know who their quarterback is. So yeah, man, I'm pretty optimistic, man. I think this team has legit talent. And I think Bryce Young, again, this is a huge year for him. I was listening to a podcast with shout out Alex Zetlow. You went on My Sports Update pod. One of the guys, a big content creator, he was talking about the Panthers, and he was saying like he thinks he knows that Bryce knows this is a big year for him and the offense as a whole. And it's just a big year for this organization, really, and to decide the next 5 years of this franchise. So, I think with his back against the wall, I think he can pull through the season. I think we can easily get back in the playoffs and compete. We were competing last year in the playoffs, and that's what the playoffs is, man. It's a bunch of 50-50 games. But yeah, those are all my thoughts, man. Give me your thoughts on where y'all's heads at are with the season. Anthony from Charlotte, you motherfucking pound.
Go ahead, Cody.
You pounded it. I think that the Panthers, and we sort of talked about this when we were, breaking down the division and how the division is kind of up in the air for anybody. I genuinely believe that if this team can stay healthy, that we do have the best roster in the NFC South. I genuinely believe that, from the defensive line, from the offensive line. Even if there are better positions here and there, running back for Atlanta or, wide receiver for New Orleans, whatever, I think overall that the Carolina Panthers have the most well-rounded roster. There's no reason why we should not be able to compete this year. And to me, man, I've said this before, if Jalen Phillips is the player that we brought him in to be, this could be a top 5 defense in the NFL. I genuinely believe that. When you add a game changer at edge like that to a defensive line that already has Derek Brown, then you add Devin Lloyd and the Jacksonville Jaguars players. I was listening to an interview, Tony, and they were sad to see that dude go. He was like one of the main pieces of their defensive front seven. And I think this is going to be a real incredible opportunity for us to prove that we've put all the pieces together to take that next step.
The number is 252-228-1598. Let's go to Lucas.
What's up, y'all? It's Lucas from FanSided. Just want to talk about Xavier Legette for a minute. When we drafted him, man, I really loved Xavier Legette. He was someone I could relate to. He's a country boy like me from South Carolina. Most of my family is from South Carolina on my dad's side. So I immediately liked him and connected with him. But he has done nothing, man, since we got him. And now he's not even trying to get better, y'all. This past preseason game against the Jaguars, shout out to the Panthers. It seemed like everyone was just balling out. He didn't even play, and I've heard that at training camp he's not showing up, and it's just really disappointing because as a fellow country boy, we are hardworking people, and Xavier Legette is clearly not a hardworking person, man. He seems like he's lazy. He's fragile. It seems like every time he gets hurt, he's going to the gator, getting hauled off every time someone lays a lick on him. And I'm just ready to get rid of him, man. It's really embarrassing, man, because I really liked this kid when we drafted him, and now I'm just ready to get rid of him. Mechie, Horn Jr., anyone seems like a better wide receiver than Leggett right now. And I'm just curious what y'all's opinion on him right now is, because I'm just ready. I don't even want to go week one with Leggett on the roster because I just feel like he would just be a bad add-on to the locker room, man. And I'm a Clemson fan. A lot of people are like, "You're just a Clemson fan. He's a Gamecock." But I love J.C. Horn, and he's one of my favorite players on the Panthers. So it's not that. What's y'all's opinion? Keep pounding, go Panthers.
Cody, you put it in some stark terms for me as someone who roots for every player on this team. I thought I was ready to see this big man mashing DBs. I thought people were overly hard on XL in his rookie year. As some drops and some moments, some tough catches and some different things, but really came out and played, when there was nobody else and kind of performed. But if the terms that you put out, which is clear number 2
or bust,
that's very difficult for me to foresee. Like I don't like those terms because that's a D student saying you got to get a B plus or so. I don't know. I don't know if it's like, I actually just think, to be honest, is whatever XL does is, I really think Jalen Coker is just smooth and cool. And
I'm not disagreeing. I think they paid Jalen Coker before they paid XL. Jalen Coker was an undrafted free agent. So that in and of itself should tell you something. But the reason why I put it in such stark terms like that is either number 2 or bust is because if he's the number 3 wide receiver and he can't beat out an undrafted free agent, then he's instantly replaceable. You could make the argument that they had the replacement this year if Chris Brazzell wouldn't have gotten hurt. So, it's almost a bad break for Brazzell is almost a good thing for XL. But again, I bring this up when I had the pleasure of meeting Dave Canales. He brought up Xavier Leggett unprompted. He was very high on him, said that he came into training camp after losing 10 pounds and that he was looking good. So I don't know if anything has changed.
He can't afford these nicks and injury. Like, is this now? It's the stinger. Right. Now it's his. God bless. I mean, we want him to excel. Pun. I didn't mean that pun to excel, but talk about fighting uphill battle where Cody's setting the standard of you got to be number 2 while Jalen Coker's ascending, and he's trying to crack into rejuvenating, I guess, his reputation. I don't, man, that's going to be tough, especially if he's walking around in a boot, Cody. Let's go. We've got only one more call, guys. Is like, wait until these lines are full. Doldrums. Let's go. One more call here.
We'll be here all night.
CK, Tony Dunn, Cody Lack, the C3 Legion. What up, y'all? This the whole
What's up, bro?
Quick. Man, what a difference a week makes, right? How about that win versus Jacksonville? So we're coming up on our preseason finale this weekend. Finally back home in the friendly confines of the Bank of America Stadium against the Houston Texans. This should be an interesting showing. I'm sitting here, and I don't know if y'all had a chance to look at the interview that Dave Canales had when he sat down with Stephen A. Smith. It was very interesting. I was listening to Canales, and he was talking about giving up play calling. And Stephen A. asked a really good question where basically he asked Dave Canales, why now, giving it over to Brad Idzik. And I found Canales' answer to be kind of intriguing, I guess. He talked about how he worked in sync very well with Brad Idzik, but he also talked about times in the past when he wanted to call a certain play, and Brad was like, no, not that one, do this one. And he talked about how in some of those instances, many of those instances, Brad was right. I just found that to be interesting, man. I know we've talked about the play calling piece, but give me your thoughts on that. And also, what do you want to see from the starters or the backups this weekend to solidify roster spots as we wrap up this preseason? But anyway, this is the Hope Dealer. Love y'all. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding, Hope Dealer. So to me, some of the guys that I want to see in terms of backups, well, actually, no, let me start with the Dave Canales thing first. You know, Tony, I remember, you know, I was taking a little bit of a sabbatical when that news came out that Canales was, you know, giving up play calling to Brad.
But you also were avid. You were against it.
I was. And the reason why I was because if you're going to hire an offensive-minded head coach to be your play caller, then you're doing that so that you can pair your head coach and that play caller with the quarterback for the foreseeable future. And then when the going gets rough, give up that play calling duty. Like there's a way that you could look at it where you're saying, okay, well, he's not looking to evolve in his play calling. He's just looking to give it up. But my thing is, if this is the best thing for the offense and Brad Idzik can call better plays and get this offense into a more continuous rhythm, then this is a sign of great leadership from Dave Canales, knowing when to say, hey, in order for me to be the best head coach possible, it's incumbent upon me to give up the play calling duties to Brad Idzik so that I can be more in control of the game. And I think maybe that's a beneficial thing to him. Again, I still don't love the fact that if our offense does blow up, Brad Idzik could potentially be a future head coach hire that walks out the door. I don't love that. But overall, right now we have to be good this season. And if Brad Idzik is what it takes to get this offense going, then I'm happy that Dave Canales had that cojones to make that call. I'm sure it wasn't an easy one.
I had the complete different, the opposite take on this is I think that, is that there are savants out there that can do it. There's an Andy Reid that's had so much experience. There is a Kyle Shanahan and a Sean McVay that are just abnormal.
Yeah.
You can hire an offensive coach who has an offensive mind, but really we hired Dave Canales because he's happy, smiling. He's Ted Lasso. That's what we hired him for.
Great show, by the way. New season right now.
Yeah, not because he's offensively brilliant in changing the game,
right?
But he has an offensive mind. I think that we saw that was there was some difficulties with managing all. I mean, and first of all, I wouldn't be able to do it. So I think it's fine. It's like you saw there was a couple of plays last year, whether it be that one play that Bryce, they whistled dead and Bryce threw it. They said it was a completion, an incompletion. Then it was 2nd and 17. He should have been out there talking with the referee saying, what's going on? Why are you doing this? You guys screwed up. But what he saw was a play clock clicking down. And he saw, I've got to work on the next play. And on top of that, to think about how smart you have to be to and not how smart you have to, how smart an Andy Reid is. Play sequencing, setting up stuff, doing this, managing a roster, thinking about timeouts, watching the clock. It's too much. And so I'm completely fine with this because I think, though, to your point, Cody, is so what if Brad Idzik goes on and becomes the next one, is that you can bring in an offensive coordinator and you're an offensive-minded coach enough to tell them and direct them and manage them in a way that is conducive to what you think and want to do if you were that play caller. Yeah, I think it's just significantly different than a defensive coach who's like, I've got everything but the offense. I'm outsourcing the offense completely. And if you are great and move on, we're fucked. I think you can weather the storm either by coaching up another interim offensive coordinator or maybe even being more involved as you become more comfortable. I think this, CK, I'll turn it to you.
Yeah.
I think Dave Canales, I don't know if we talked about this when, I think when Cody was gone, is about how he had to sacrifice his ego here. But this was a self-preservation decision.
I mean, it's certainly could be viewed that way. I do think that there's the question of whether it was his decision to begin with, right? And so I'm still not necessarily willing to remove that from being a possible reality at this stage, because I mean, there's a real chance that he made the decision to do this, or somebody else made the decision on his behalf to try to make the team a better team.
I think he had to. Let me see. Let me check the calls, and then we'll move on. It's already. Oh God! Here's my broken ass phone. My phone is literally. I'm so oh no! Like really, like double dropped. Like it does its own thing sometimes. And it is not listening to me right now. Cody, what else do we got to talk about here? Let's see. We got one more call. Here we go. We'll take this call.
All right.
What's going on, everybody? This is me, C-Dog, 1983.
C-Dog.
TV. Whenever you come in here, can you please hit the like button? Can you please subscribe to the great content? The C3 Podcast is the longest running Panthers podcast on YouTube. They go live every Tuesday. They got a free for all every Friday. They got the game recaps every Sunday. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate you, brother.
Mm-hmm.
But with these last roster spots and everything, who's gonna make this team? Man, I want AJ Dillon to make this team because we really haven't had a power running back in a long time, you know, and a fullback. So, and he can catch the ball at the backfield. So, man, in some way, somehow we got to keep AJ Dillon on this roster.
What's up, Jay?
You know? And
yeah,
man, I know it's not gonna happen, but I wish we would just move on from Nick Scott and just play all the young rookies like Damari Richardson, Wheatley, Ransom, anybody except Nick Scott. Let me see who else. And I hope Isaiah Simmons makes the team. That's what I'm saying. It's too many young players I want to make the team. I'd rather keep at safety over Nick Scott. Let me see what else. On this offensive line, and with Moulton coming back, it's gonna be intriguing, man. And with Iki coming back and everything. And
I hope he comes back as a guard.
Possibility they move him to the inside.
Yeah, my thoughts.
We'll see everything. That's gonna be very intriguing for me. When he comes back, are we finally gonna see him at the guard position? Let me see what else. And I'm excited to see Haynes King. I want Haynes King to be a number 2 quarterback. Haynes King come out here again and balls to the wall. You need to go ahead and read the quarterback number 2. And probably about it.
He's hitting on some big topics here.
I'm trying to think if anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Battles. I really can't.
Can't cut him off because he's about to shout us out.
Of course, Excel, man. Unless y'all want to flip Excel for a linebacker, like trade Excel for a linebacker. I don't know. That's about it. But everybody have a great week. Keep pounding. Hit the like button whenever you come in here. Please.
That's right.
please hit the like button and subscribe to the content.
Thank you.
Everybody
Thank you
have
for
a
your
great
calls.
Appreciate
Thank
you, bro.
Thank you for spending your time and your attention and your energy with us. We've been grinding, man. We've been grinding up and down through these 14 years. We need your help here as we continue to get through this grind. All we got to do is get a little momentum. We have a lot of foundation here, and just a little bit of Panther success will lead to and I'm not saying the show is like, let's get back to the point where we're locking arms, calling in, chatting it up, so how do you help us? If you're here right now and you're the hard and the faithful and the true, you smash the thumbs up button, you subscribe, you be a part of the show, you call in and check out the podcast on iTunes and Spotify. Give it a rating. Right now, Jim Zoki is on. We have got a exclusive interview with Panthers radio network, 27 years with the Carolina Panthers, voice of the ECU Pirates as well, play-by-play, exclusive interview talking about all of these topics right here. And so we go to this, and C-Dog gave us a list of things to talk about. And now, why am I blanking right here?
Well, I know you brought up AJ Dillon. And I'll say this time, I hope AJ Dillon makes the roster over Trevor Etienne.
I think, again, it comes back to this. I think you're going to look at, for me, it's how much do you, if you're Dan Morgan and Brad Tillis and Dave Canales, who I guess you just classify as the complete front office, how much your draft picks, like, is your ego, at what point does the ego get in the way? At what point do I sell the stock that I believe in? If Kev's still listening, is where I believed in it, I called it, I thought it, and it's just time, because I can hold that stock and it might get a little bit better, or I can sell that stock, take that money and put it in something that will make me more money equivalently right now. And I think that AJ Dillon is that conversation, but I think Jatavian Sanders might be in that equation too, is how much do you hold on to that? He then referenced to, hold on, it was somebody he didn't like or did like. Gosh, what was the last part that he was asking?
What, XL?
XL. No, it was after XL. We've already talked about XL. I thought it was one more.
Sanders.
Maybe it's Haynes King. Here, you can find out about this. Is like, what do you do with Haynes King? And I talked to Jim Zoki about this, and he said there's three options right here. But why? Words, quote from Jim Zoki, is that he wants to, he said, you watch it and you just want to see more. But he also said this is it's not QB2 ready. And with a roster, and you're trying to manage the roster, how do we protect it? I nudged him on this because I have an opinion that they are going to try to IR him for a little while. I think Kenny Pickett is QB2. I think you put him on the practice squad. Go to Spotify, check out the whole interview with Jim Zoki. But you know what he pointed out, Cody, is because I said, look, is, you can't, you're going to roster him as QB3 when we probably need to be only carrying two QBs, right? You can put Trask on the practice squad. But if you put Haynes King on the practice squad, somebody's coming after him. And he pointed out, he pointed out Atlanta, the Atlanta Falcons.
He went to Georgia Tech.
And the Atlanta Falcons who are struggling. He's like, you know what? You want to get a little action, a little juice with the Falcons. You put Haynes King on that practice squad, Atlanta might be coming after him.
But that would be such a disservice to the level of talent that Haynes King is. But
he's not going to help us this year.
I don't believe that. And you know what? I believe that the actions of the Carolina Panthers are also saying that they don't believe that. So this is from Dean Jones, and I wanted to bring this up because I thought that this was poignant. Haynes King's preseason shutdown sends a telling Panthers roster signal. The Panthers may have seen enough, and that's a good thing. The Carolina Panthers must have been thrilled with the way undrafted rookie Haynes King performed performed during the Pro Football Hall of Fame game against the Arizona Cardinals. And as it turned out, that would be the last we see him in the preseason. That really sucks. It hurts, man. For the year at least, King suffered a hamstring injury on his game-winning touchdown run. He's being brought along and gradually was spotted working out on the field before Carolina's warm-up win over the Jacksonville Jaguars. However, head coach Dave Canales has now confirmed that the signal caller won't feature on Friday night versus the Texans. So Haynes King won't feature, but his roster spot might be safe. If he's not ready, he's not ready. Just what this means for King's hope of making the 53-man roster is something else entirely. The Georgia Tech product's momentum was stunned at the worst possible time. King would have liked to stack good performances and leave no doubt, but it wasn't to be. He was no doubt itching to get back on the field, especially given he'd be QB3 in Carolina if he does make the squad. That remains the subject of debate, but the Panthers may have seen all they needed throughout the offseason during King's only warm-up outing. And this is the interesting part. General Manager Dan Morgan was visibly excited about King's development when discussing the player. The Panthers made him a top priority target when the 2026 draft concluded, and they clearly believe the signal caller can offer something with a little extra refinement. Whatever the Panthers are teaching King, it has a desired effect. He looked more comfortable in the pocket than people give him credit for. He went through his progressions effectively, had a live arm, and just made things happen. The sample size was small, but sometimes that's all a player in King's position needs. This is the interesting part. Carolina can use King as a short yardage quarterback while he continues to grow in other areas. Kenny Pickett is the backup and has performed relatively well throughout the season, but he's only on a one-year deal. Morgan is always thinking about the bigger picture, and the undrafted free agent brings much more intriguing long-term upside. The Panthers know they would be running too big of a risk to waive King with the view to bring him back into the practice squad. There's always some slight doubts until the status on the team is confirmed, but if King was ready to go and fighting for a place, he'd be on the field. That's not the case, which could mean the Panthers are comfortable enough with King getting healthy to make sure he can be of use when the real action begins. So when they mentioned that short yardage quarterback thing, I think right now the mission for Haynes King, I think he's healthier than the team is giving him credit for. I think they're wanting to rest him and prepare him for a role when they can get him in on some of these short yardage positions and have him be under center, or not necessarily even under center, but put him out at shotgun like the Saints did with Taysom Hill, and you don't know if he's going to run it or if he's going to throw it.
You're wrong.
And that's the kind of weapon that you can use him as.
You're wrong here, because to do that, no, you are wrong.
I'm not.
And here's why, CK, because you laughed, is to do what he's saying, which would be cool, right? Is like, oh, we got Taysom Hill, this and that. You have to actively roster 3 quarterbacks. We just talked about we've talked about the tight end room and how there's a bubble already there for Jatavian Sanders. So you're not going to roster 3 tight ends and to sacrifice the spot to get you the 3rd quarterback on the active roster. You're also not going to roster. There's no way in hell that you're going to say this is our active roster is Bryce Young and Haynes King. No way. It is, you're going to have Kenny Pickett is the active backup quarterback. So what I think this is, this is where I say he's wrong at, CK, is I think that this injury, this hamstring injury, which a hamstring injury is a soft tissue injury that can linger. You can't IR a healthy player, but you can IR a player who is dealing with some sort of injury, pup, whatever. You get 6, 8. I think the Panthers, what they try to do here is they don't want to put practice squad Haynes King. I don't think they want to active roster 3 quarterbacks. I think they IR Haynes King for the first 8 weeks or whatever the 6 weeks or the rule is. And then they figure out a way to fudge the numbers somewhere where they feel better in a position group where then they can active roster a 3rd quarterback temporarily and then use him in a tight end or some sort of package, or maybe not at all, and develop him. But you can't just put this kid on the practice roster and hope nobody scoops him up at all. And I don't think that he's developed enough to just say, if something happens to Bryce, we're going Haynes King quarterback.
I mean, I don't disagree. I think that they're going to have to play with the roster rules and everything like that. But I mean, what would that look like for his, like, so if I'm Haynes King, do I look positively at the fact that this team is actively trying to screw me out of potentially making life-changing money, even if it isn't necessarily a tremendous amount of money, but it's more than he's getting right now?
He makes the same exact, CK. I think he makes the same exact money. Like, he's going to make the money that he would have made. Imagine this, is that if they active rostered him, he's just not going to get any reps. He's not going to get any playing time. And at any moment, and any other injury at any other position group threatens your existence completely. Haynes King is a project. He's not he's going to be a part of this year. Does that make sense? You're actually just honoring and paying his contract and just hoping that you can maybe give more later.
I don't know. I don't think that it's out of the question that he would be able to get paid more if he were to be signed or picked up off of waivers or something along those lines, right? I'm not saying that he's with that,
but I don't know the rules, but it's kind of like in that Jalen Coker restricted, whatever, undrafted. I don't think all of a sudden. I guess that's a good point. What if Haynes King is like what if Haynes King says, I'm not injured, fucking put me on the practice squad so I can get scooped up? That would be interesting.
I think they want my theory, as I've said, they want him to get healthy so that he can be that sort of option where you don't know if he's going to run the ball or throw the ball. And I also agree with what Dean Jones said in the article, that Dan Morgan's always thinking about the future. Even if Kenny Pickett were to play well in a backup role, he's out the door this next year. He's not the long-term backup quarterback.
No, that's
fine.
Haynes
King. And if Haynes is healthy, you can start to see some of that this year.
All right. I bet 5. Like, I won't say. I mean, like, you want to bet? Like, I don't think Haynes King is active quarterback 53-man roster. My money's against it.
So you don't think he makes the 53-man roster?
No, I don't.
So then what if some other team scoops him up?
I told you what I think they're going to do. I think they're going to IR him until the point that they can make this happen. That's my position on this.
I think
next week he will be. I don't think they have the luxury of being able to roll with 3 quarterbacks on the active roster. CK, do you lean towards Cody, or do you lean not towards me, but is Haynes King active 53? He's not even playing the 4th preseason game. It's not like he's getting better, which I don't even think this is a real significant injury. I think this is a convenient injury.
I don't know, man. I don't think that they're going to be playing that type of a game with that dude's career, to be honest with you.
He doesn't even drafted. Then play whatever game you want.
Yeah, you think that's... Go ahead, second.
Yeah, I mean, but my point being is, like, he showed enough to where another team might be willing to take a flyer on him as a backup, or something along those lines. And now if they put him on IR, he can't participate in anything team related outside of just recovery, essentially, until he's able to.
But what's he really gonna do? You're not gonna be drawing up packages.
Well, even if your practice squad, you're playing football.
Okay. I'm the
Right?
odd man out. All right, you guys. All right, so CK, are you saying he's practice squad?
I say they're going to hope that he goes practice squad, but I think that's going to be a mistake and somebody else is going to pick him up. I want him to be QB2.
Same.
The fuck?
It is.
Crazy.
Tony, you're thinking so short term. Haynes King has such a higher ceiling than
So
Kenny
short
Pickett.
term. No, if the
It's
Panthers
such a higher ceiling
sorry.
than what Kenny Pickett represents as a quarterback. He's a better runner. He has a much bigger arm. He was able to put the ball in tight windows early.
I'm not going to argue about
we
this
have,
all night.
We have
I'm not
seen,
we have
seen the kind of quarterback that Kenny Pickett is in the regular season through multiple seasons. There is no reason to give up on a burgeoning talent for a player that will not be on your roster next year.
I don't feel like you understand what a backup quarterback is supposed to be. A backup quarterback is not your plan for the future. A backup quarterback is not supposed to be what's going to happen in 2027. If Kenny Pickett is playing in 2026, Dave Canales likely won't have a job. Bryce Young won't be here. And God bless this is that we are not going through a Kenny Pickett or Haynes King regime. Kenny Pickett is a perfect backup because the Panthers have to perform with Bryce Young this year. They have to win and they have to get better, because if they don't, there is ultimately or could be a reset on the horizon. What Kenny Pickett could do is if Bryce Young hurts a pinky finger or rolls an ankle and has to miss 3 games, that Kenny Pickett could maybe get you one game in there and be competent. And he started, he's been a part of it. He knows the language. Look, he's actually looked pretty fucking good in the preseason. Is that all of a sudden, if Bryce Young misses 2 games, the season is not over. But I'm telling you, if you think that backup quarterbacks are not developmental, homie.
They're
not developmental. If you think that we need to kick Haynes King at number 2 because in the future he could be the starter, that's insane. We might as well. No wonder. You know what? No wonder people have come after you for, what was it, Will Greer?
It was not Will Greer.
The other guy is they're not.
It was never Will Greer. What you don't understand is that Kenny Pickett is not a good long-term talent. And you're saying that backups are not being developed.
He's a this year for 1 or 2 games. I'm not saying he's a long-term talent. Saying he's a long-term talent is you're doing a strong argument, homie.
Tony, listen to what Jim Stokey told you. If he goes on the practice squad and Atlanta picks him up, and then he goes down to ball out for another team, do you know how much fucking egg Dan Morgan is going to have on his face?
No, not if Bryce Young is doing well.
Over Haynes King. There's no way they let him go. I'm telling you,
if Bryce Young is doing well, you don't give a shit.
The Carolina Panthers have seen too much from Haynes King to let him go somewhere else. Okay. They are not going to let that happen. I will bet money on it.
All right.
You want to bet money?
$5. I bet $5 he will not be on the 53.
Sure. Okay. I'll take that.
$5 on the 50.
It will be
on the 53. And it doesn't sound, and Panther Gal, I'm not trying to be rude, but what Cody is saying is actually dumb. It is dumb.
You don't let talent go. Dumb is letting a potential high-end talent go to another football team.
Who believes their backup quarterback is a long-term answer? Not a single motherfucker in the world. That's the whole reason they're a backup quarterback, Cody. Kenny Pickett is a 1-year backup. Nobody believes that he's going to be part of the team of the future. If he is, that means that we fucking suck.
Don't you remember when we had Derek Anderson and he was the backup for Cam for what?
A backup quarterback needs to get you through 2 games of one
Derek
injury.
Anderson was the backup for Cam Newton for like multiple years. I'm guaranteed you they are not going to let a talent like Haynes King off of this roster. If he's
a backup quarterback doesn't get you through 5 years, Cody. It gets you through 3 games.
They don't just see him as a backup.
Okay.
That's why I said they want to put him in some snaps this year. They want to snap the ball to him. They want to use him as a run threat, and they want to use him to get the defense off of their guard, and he can throw a pass downfield like that Taysom Hill role.
I didn't know a backup quarterback was supposed to be a developmental quarterback for the future. I never knew
He's
that.
more than a quarterback.
No, I never knew that a backup quarterback should be that. And again,
Jordan
the reason
Love, Aaron Rodgers.
No, they were drafted to be starters. CK, they were not drafted. They were not backups,
but
who
they
were
backups.
hoping. No,
they
were part of a institutional plan. No, that is a different. It's a poor analogy. Those were drafted to be successors. That's not a backup quarterback. That is a waiting to be crowned moment. We're not talking about a guy that hopefully, it's like, oh, Will Levis all of a sudden is going to become, well, you know what? You know, right.
Will Levis was
well, how about the Miami Dolphins and fucking Malik Willis are about to fucking crush it?
He was the 3rd round pick. But hey, the Dolphins.
He's the fucking terrible player.
He's not terrible, or else the Dolphins wouldn't have paid him money to replace Tua. And he's already looking damn good in camp. Some players take longer to develop, and you would rather have those developed players on your team in the long run than go to another team and ball out for some other team. If Haynes King goes to the practice squad, he is going to another team.
That's my.
All right, so they're not going to let him go to another team. They're not going to. They're not.
We got $5 on it. We got $5.
Yeah, for sure.
He's not going to be on the 53, and he's not going to the practice squad. He's the $5 is this is
so then Tony.
If he's on 53, I owe you $5.
Why would they put him on IR? Why would they put him on IR?
Because you get full 6 weeks where you don't have to worry about somebody poaching him. He's on your roster, but he doesn't affect the 53.
Yeah, but they can still poach him after, right?
No, then you get time to figure out where you can adjust your roster to then activate him. Or you could practice squad him then. No, is you get 6 week window to shut the.
But I think that
look. Listen, the real A. No,
I'm saying I would not even dislike that scenario. That could be good.
That's my scenario, but you have been disliking it the whole time because
I don't think that they're going to put him on IR. I think that's why they're not.
Okay, well, I don't think they're going to put him on the 53. And we got $5. The $5 is this: I owe you $5 if he's on the 53-man roster. If he's not, whether he's on the practice squad or on IR, you owe me $5. That's it. And I'm done talking about it. Let's finish this boy. Don't talk about C3 having one position.
Exactly, dude. He's a good quarterback, and Dan Morgan is just not gonna let him fucking go somewhere else.
Oh my!
By the way, I feel like the chat and CK to a point agree with me. So you're dying on the hill, Tony. But we'll see who's right, man. We'll see who's right. I think he won over a large portion of the fan base, and that's what you're not necessarily understanding.
No, that's fine. I don't care if you like him or not. You have to. I've already said what I'm going to say. Kenny Pickett has nothing to do with this season beyond this season. That's it.
Okay.
And Haynes King, God bless him. If he's a fucking quarterback in 2 years, fine. But guess what? He ain't going to be the quarterback this year. And he ain't going to be a tight end. So let's go. All right. So this offensive line, I mean, I'm so infuriated by some of this shit sometimes. The offensive line, I was so infuriated in that you were like, oh, Robert Hunt went in there, Damian Lewis, and then that's
and I was right on that one too, because it looked like dog shit without them. And
right, but if they're not there,
4 points.
My point is, if they're not there, then we're going to be dog shit this year. But all of a sudden, weird, I won't say weird, dude. It doesn't have to do exactly with this slide, but the idea of Taylor Moton coming back, maybe giving Monroe Freeland a little, I won't say excuse. Check out what Jim Zoki had to say about how you handle this. Is Taylor Moton is the dude, man. He's great. Like, if he can come back, you're gonna have to ease him in. But he also brought up a great point, is that, like, when I was like, oh, well, what about Icky at guard? He's like, just because he's coming back doesn't mean he's full ready to, like, full strength all the time. And then you're going to try to put him in a different position. You don't want to put him in a position to just ultimately fail. But the Carolina Panthers, when we were against Buffalo, like, we're looking at this offensive line, it's just like weak. But you add Taylor Moton back to this mix, it gives you latitude with Monroe Freeland. You add Icky, theoretically, to Cody's point, guardish. Is this offensive line as porous as we thought when you start to think about them getting healthier? And this is where I turn it over to Sam Hecht.
Sam Hecht is somebody that most people said was the best center in the draft. And the Panthers, when we landed him, everybody was like, yes, this is our center of the future. He started off not looking completely great in the start of the preseason and the training camp time period. But then when you look at what he's been able to do recently, so you have Ben Fennell, NFL. He says, just buzz through the Panthers rookie Sam Hecht film. Wow. I don't know what the Luke Fortner plan is or was, but Hecht will be the starting center there for a while once he gets the job, and can be the best rookie center in the class. Slaughter and Rutledge seem like they'll be contenders too. This was the hope, right? That you brought in Fortner, but Sam Hecht, he was an incredible college football player for Kansas State. And a lot of people are hoping that if you can have him be the starting center for the Carolina Panthers and build that, that real connection with the Bryce like Cam Newton had with Ryan Khalil, that this is going to be an opportunity to not only get better in the trenches, but to actually get cheaper on the offensive line, where you're not constantly in the top 5 of offensive line spending money every year. Sam Hecht has started to look really good, and now he's starting to live up to some of that praise that he garnered when he was drafted.
CK, this is on you. You guys cover me, and then I'll be right back to finish out all of it up.
Yeah, 100%. I think that it's always really encouraging to see that there is a high demand for a guy like Sam Hecht. I think he absolutely should be considered high on the list of people that they are looking for to be the long-term answer at that position. But at the end of the day, I think it's really hard for this offense or this coaching staff to want to take a guy who has played in the NFL and in favor of a guy who hasn't. So I'm worried that they won't actually give him a genuine look for a while.
So that it'll take a little while before we see him playing real snaps on the field.
I mean, that's what I'm worried about. I think that he should 100% be putting himself. I mean, they should be putting him out there on the field, in my opinion. But
yeah.
I don't believe that. I worry that they're going to be unwilling to do that. Did I lose you guys? Don't know if we lost anybody, but I'm hoping you guys can hear me. Oh yeah, it looks like Cody has had to come back in. But yeah, my worry right now with the Sam Hecht thing is I want Sam Hecht to be able to come in immediately and be a guy who can start to contribute early on. I am not a fan, and I think Cody is probably going to agree with me on this. I'm not a fan of wasting 1 full year of a rookie contract just because we want to be able to let somebody else that's a veteran who you might believe has a better chance at providing stability at the center position. I just don't. I don't subscribe to that idea, and that would worry me that they are looking at it from that perspective.
Yeah, sorry, my
good.
internet crashed. So this is every snap from Sam Hecht in week 2, and you start to see some of the mobility of this guy, the agility that he offers, strong in the point of attack. You see him bullying some of these opposing defensive tackles. He doesn't let anyone by him. Sam Hecht is starting to put together that film. And, Luke Fortner, he's been sort of a journeyman, CK. He's bounced around. He's been with the Saints. He's been with the Jaguars. But I really feel like the contingency plan for the future is for Sam Hecht to be the starting center. And look how he even on that last one, he got some action, then moved up to the second level and found some more work. The dude's fast. He gets out on the field, runs good and strong. I really do think that Sam Hecht has the potential to potentially even see the field this year, especially if Fortner is any kind of liability. Like, let's be real. The leash on Luke Fortner is a very short one when you have a player like Sam Hecht waiting in the wings.
Yeah, I mean, I think that knowing that they drafted him and that there is a part of this that we all can agree that there might be some ego at bay, that can happen. And so I think that the only saving grace that I think could happen that actually allows us to actually see Hecht be the starter in significant role, maybe even earlier than we hope, is that they drafted him, so they're going to be willing to prove themselves right.
Only thing I gotta say about this is that we have consistently said, or at least football heads have said, how ultimately important the center is and helping the quarterback, right?
Yeah.
And help orient the offensive line. So in a year that you want Bryce Young to thrive, in a year that you're trying to get this offensive line who has real components, but also some new additions and a rookie potentially at right tackle and maybe a stud running back in developing in Jonathan Brooks. It's not just about who's ultimately going to be the long-term player that's best, but who can help navigate that and help Bryce be who he is best. So I think that, look, as we celebrated, Sam Hecht is a great pick, right? And the value, do you remember how much we celebrated the value that Dan Morgan got in this draft? But I don't think that forcing him is maybe there could be something to having him eased in. What I would just say is these are good things, right? The fact that he looks good. We're not drafting a player that we say, we need you to do this right away. Let it happen naturally. So I kind of let the natural talent thrive, but I would not be surprised if Fortner is the guy that needs to be replaced. And it could happen. A lot of this happens naturally. Ankle happens, wrist, you know what I'm saying? And then they come in and they get the job. But I don't think you walk in and you go, oh, heck, we're starting them over. Let's put Fortner in. Let's give Bryce and this line a chance to thrive mentally, right? And then, or whatever, strategically. And what if Fortner goes down and then you got a center that's waiting in the wings who turns out to be better, that's a good problem to have.
Absolutely. I think the leash on Luke Fortner is very short. I
don't think it's a leash. It's just like
I do. When you have a good player like Sam Hecht waiting in the wings.
Fortner was good for the Saints last year.
I know, but I'm talking about this year. What have you done for me lately? That's what I'm saying. It's the leash. Just like last year when Austin Corbett wasn't playing as well at the center position, and you had Cade Mays back there ready
he was a second-year player,
ready
though.
to pick up the reins. I don't even think that matters.
Okay. Next. We got to be done.
We are.
Okay. Thank goodness. All right, Terry. You're listening.
Couldn't accept it. Haynes King, future of this great Carolina Panthers team. I know.
If you guys want to know about some real things that not some real things, you guys know a ton. You're expert football fans, just like we are. We never try to educate you. We just try to talk with you. I talked with Jim Zoki, Panthers radio analyst, been with the team 27 years, called every single game, and voice of the ECU Pirates, my alma mater. Some insight too on how these bubble strategies could happen at wide receiver, tight end, the versatility of special teams, how it goes into it. And he did talk about the 3 options with Haynes King, what you can do with him. And quote Zoki was, I want to see more, but how do you see more? You can find that on our audio podcast on Spotify and iTunes. I will be putting it up on YouTube, but it's audio only, so maybe not as visually cool. You won't get to see Cody's beautiful face and my irritable mug. We've talked about, look, final preseason on the way. We're going to watch along, you said, is in the works.
Yeah,
we're going to definitely... Cody, we're going to have to do an extra impromptu special on Monday on cut day.
Yeah, I'm down.
And then Tuesday, we'll be back here and we'll be looking for a week respite as we then head into college football. But then 1 week away after that to the Panthers opening game. The opener is against the Bears. Is that right?
Yep. Chicago Bears.
Rough and tough. Test to our defense and a testament to our offense. Thank you for hanging out with us. Smash the thumbs up button, subscribe. We have one final segment where we tell someone to ice up, toughen up, to get it together. Cody, producer man, I'm giving you a little click leeway right here. Let's ice some fools up.
Ice up.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
It's our homage to Steve Smith, where we tell someone to ice up, toughen up, to get it together. Everyone is fair game. I mean, I could ice up Cody the chat tonight for straw man arguing it.
Everyone except you.
Look over here, just so I don't look over there. Don't worry, wisdom will come. I got some age. I got some years on you. It will show true. We can ice up whoever the F we want. Our family members, our friends, our co-hosts. 15-year-olds in Oklahoma, which might be kind of risky in this newer cancel culture that I was like, fuck this 15-year-old kid in Oklahoma that didn't want to be a Panthers fan. But it's our homage to Steve Smith, where we tell someone to ice up, toughen up, to get it together. We don't have to stick in the bounds of football. Cody, Leck, CK, drop some ice. I mean, I could go for days. I mean, I can go after you. I can go after the chat.
Well, I mean, you could.
I could go after
you
Panthers.
could.
I'd be like, What? Cody?
You could. You just wouldn't be successful. I'll go first. So recently, the NFL, or pardon me, the NCAA has implemented this weird new rule that even NFL players can be eligible to come back and play college football. I don't know if you guys have seen this. A guy, an edge rusher for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers went back, and there have been a bunch of players that have gone back, and they're playing NFL football. And to me, I kind of think this is bullshit, because if you have declared for the NFL and you're literally already on a football team, then why in the fuck did you get to have a do-over and go back and play college football? Like, it's just it just reams of like slimy college business to me. And now, I really do believe that college football is becoming a joke more and more now that you've implemented all these rules.
Just now?
No, I mean, especially now since the NIL thing. And originally, I was really happy with players getting their bag. But now with the transfer portal, there's so many different things that have really started to erode the college football game. So Clemson plays LSU week 1. And like this asshole is just willing to win by fucking any means necessary. And to me, he is the definition of like what is ruining college football. Yeah, go into the transfer portal infinite amount of times, get as many NFL players on the roster as possible. And I just hate this smarmy asshole.
We have made a decision to recruit some kids around the country. And through these multiple injunctions around the country, which this is not a first time, they've been in college sports for a while, a group of players were granted a 5th year of eligibility around the country in multiple sports. And through them winning their injunction and entry into the portal, they're available to recruit. And so ourselves, like many places around the country, are recruiting them. And at the end of the day, because of these rulings, they're either going to play for you or they're going to play somewhere else around the country. So we've made a decision to recruit them, like probably most people are.
So let's get some fucking grown-ass men who have already played a ton of college football that are already on NFL rosters to come back and start week 1 before we play the Clemson Tigers. Fuck this guy. Fuck LSU. Fuck all the NFL teams that are even like, I guess the NFL can't really do shit about it if they just decide to leave. But to me, if you are the NFL, it has to make you much more hesitant before you sign undrafted free agents. Now, if you're going to look on their laundry list and see, oh, okay, this player is eligible to go back to college, why would I even sign him? To me, this is just ruining both sports. I don't like it. It's dumb. Ice up the NCAA. Ice up LSU. Ice up Lane Kiffin.
I guarantee you he makes more money going back to LSU than if he was on the practice squad.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. It doesn't mean that should be happening still. Fuck that guy.
Y'all wish for this? You got it? You wish for it? You got it. CK, you have an ice up for us?
Yeah. I don't know. This seems like a pretty
I like how CK does his ice ups like from Pakistan, like black bag.
Yeah, exactly. No, my camera stopped working. I don't know what was going on. I think the battery died. But no, my ice up is gonna be to the owner of the 49ers.
Oh man, I was gonna celebrate him.
Well, the reason I'm not is because the dude's like, I don't know about you guys, but the idea that this dude just like only was about to pay this woman like $160,
140, by the way, is what
140
was reported.
And like, it's just my thought is like, good grief, the dude, like, that's all he brought in cash. I
How do you know that part? Have you? I haven't read
Yeah,
about it. Is
I
that
read
like
it.
he only had 140? Like he was
he had 100
negotiating
That
with
was
her?
what he had in cash. Yeah, that's what they confiscated off
Was
of
he
him.
negotiating with a cop?
I don't know. I didn't hear all the details on that front. But
Okay.
could you imagine? Like the thing, what I'm icing up is, do you know the reason that dude's at a trailer park? Like, it's because he wants to do some ridiculous stuff.
Oh,
right?
no. Oh, well, maybe.
I mean, why else? Because you could go, you have the money to go anywhere and, get an escort, right? You could get a high dollar escort, and it's like your lunch money being is as much money as he's worth.
Well, you don't get rich, CK, from overspending.
Yeah, but you also get syphilis by going to trailer parks. So.
Yeah. All right. So ice him up. Are you icing up his negotiating her down from 160 to 140?
No,
Or are you
I'm
icing up getting
the fact
arrested?
the dude was going and he only had $160, and this girl in the trailer park, whomever it was that he thought he was getting ready, I assume a female.
She turned him in because he couldn't. He tried to
get a discount, right? So yeah, no, I just that's my ice up. It's just that dude essentially just, I'm not gonna say he ruined his life because he could not work the rest of his life.
This motherfucker can be fine. Have you not heard about Robert Kraft?
Robert Kraft's situation wasn't nearly as bad. Now it's bad. Don't get me wrong,
This
but like they can't.
He
put
will
anything.
be an NFL owner next year.
Kev makes a good point. The bro is one state over from Nevada where it's illegal.
Yeah, exactly. That's the
yeah.
point.
What,
Like,
Ohio? He was in Ohio.
No, it was in no, it wasn't in Ohio, was it?
Yes.
That's where he was at a trailer park in Ohio?
Yeah, it was Ohio. It was not in California.
Oh shit.
I just don't understand why.
I promise you. I promise you.
Why was he in Ohio? That's the thing.
Because, well, first of all, there's like this. If you really read into it, it's like all of this. I won't say shady, but like is like he's this how the Yorks acquired the 49ers, and with maybe they have ties to the mob.
Ooh,
in
sounds like fun.
Louisiana. Okay, I'm gonna let you. You know what I did is, and I have to remind myself. I said I will not talk about Jed York. When I walked in, I said it like 10 times. I will not talk about Jed York. I will not talk about Jed York because CK, I will. Ice him up. That's all I can say. Ice him up.
He does live in California, so imagine being that horny that you're just like, I need to go spend $140 at a trailer park. Hey Tony, before you go,
I like how all y'all bugs you're like, oh, I got cash around. All right, I will not talk about Jed York. I will not talk about Jed York.
Why would you're a billionaire spending $140 on some trailer park trash? Come on, dude. This is the dumbest shit ever. Hey, real quick, I want to, Kev, I just saw this. Kev sent me the update. Apparently, the SEC put a halt to that shit. The SEC came together, had a meeting, and said that the SEC will not permit athletes on a roster who have previously declared for the NFL, NBA, or WNBA draft and do not appropriately withdraw, signed a contract with the NFL, been listed on an NFL roster. So, fuck yeah, the SEC actually did some cool shit. Shut that shit down. Fuck Lane Kiffin and fuck LSU. I
thought that they had gotten an injunction by the courts to do it.
I don't know. I'm saying that the SEC came in and said that There
I
are
think if
teams
you have
that are under the
eligibility, you should
SEC.
be able to go back. And the fact that these stupid ass boosters pay you, that's their fault.
Yeah,
I'm
but you
sorry, they
forfeit
paid
that
Stetson
eligibility.
Bennett like $6 million. He made more money in college than he will ever make in the NFL.
Yeah, but you
I'm
should
fine with
forfeit-
this,
You
dude.
should forfeit your eligibility when
No,
you declare for the
why?
NFL
It's a
draft.
business. No,
Yeah,
you
so
are a
what?
professional
You're out of
athlete
college
now.
football.
You are not.
Right,
No,
you're no
If
longer an
you want to
amateur.
if you want to get paid in college, like you are getting paid, you are an employee, right? That's how we recognize them. We said this is that ultimately they make money for this college. They make more money. They deserve to be. They were an employee. There is no longer a collegiate status that you've forfeit. If you want to keep eligibility, and that's a rule, 5 years you can play, and you go in there and you test the draft and you don't get where you want, I think you should be able to go back and juice the fucking LSU boosters for whatever you want. Because these mugs will
the
make
SEC disagreed with you. The Big Ten disagreed with you. Whenever you say you're done being an amateur athlete, which you are a
they're
professional
not amateurs.
athlete.
They're getting paid millions of bazillions.
I know.
No, fuck
That's
that.
why the whole
No.
thing is so fucking dumb.
No.
But if you declare for the NFL, you're an NFL player. And you shouldn't go back to college
I don't think you
football.
should have to declare. I think you should just do
steal the
this. I
spot.
choose.
And you're stealing the spot from some other young kid on the roster who's looking to get that same spot. Fuck
Did you
those
hear
guys.
about this guy that went from he's on the Kansas City team, and he was like, I'm gonna leave. Like he might not have made the roster, but he got an offer to like be in a movie, and he was like, I can't turn this down.
Oh, yeah. I did see that.
But so, like, you know what? There's no difference to me than that. It's
It's
what? Pick
very
what's in
different.
your
It's a
lane that's
different-
best.
it's a
If you
different
have another,
profession.
I think the fact that you have eligibility, I don't want to argue about it. What was it? I did have say, I was like, I will not talk about Jed York. I will not talk about Jed York.
You so badly want to agree and defend Jed York so bad.
No, I don't want to agree with him at all. It's not that. Anyway, this is my ice up. It's not an ice up. I feel like I don't know who. Hold on, let me make sure I get my screens right here, because I have like multiple things going on. Hold up. Where am I at? Okay, let's see. They changed our bookmarks. Now it's called history. Here we go. Let's see. All right, this thing, I don't know what to ice up here. We'll just watch it together.
Result in a few of these showers and storms popping up mostly across the north and west, and resulting in the chance for some heavier precipitation, a few bands of storms in some spots. We gotta fish up this weather right now.
Dude is high as a kite.
Nope, it's worse than that, bro. I don't think it's high.
Low 80s and spots on Monday.
What?
Wait. I mean, it.
Oh man, let me get it together real quick.
Listen, it gets worse.
What?
Hold on.
Oh my gosh.
Coastal spots. Different story, a little cooler. Lower than 70s. Giant, please take it. What happened to professionalism, Patrick?
All right, so I don't know what's happening here. I don't know if he got like the giggles, which that's what I thought it was at first. But then I think he got the I can't deal with my own self-esteem. This motherfucker cracked on the internet, on the television. I mean, just
not a question.
Dude, to me,
breakdown.
Homeboy popped an edible. Like,
I think then
Homeboy
I
was
would be
on
okay
some
with
shit.
it. My ice up is that it's okay if he turned out to be like tripping acid and just got on the giggle train, or ate a quarter mushrooms and got on a giggle train. But I don't think that's what it is. I think this mug is part of the softy world that was like crying. I don't know. I think that he just had a breakdown. And I'm not saying having a mental breakdown is problematic, but I think that he just couldn't deal with like adversity. So I'm icing up that is mental health check. We want you to do that. But if you rock into a moment where you're just uncomfortable, like if a hot chick says hello and you just fold, I think he just folded, man. And then he got into a cyclone of folding. So if this mug was on drugs, I'm better with it. If he had real mental issues and depression or something like that, I'm better with it. But I think that this is a guy that just never left his bedroom and looked at the internet. That's my thoughts. So ice up is
We've got to find out the story.
Mental health. I support him mental health, but I do not. If you fold, if a hot girl says hello to you, say what's up, bro. What's good? Like, weather's nice. Fucking northeaster working in. I mean, this guy, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Ice up to me, I guess the whole crew would say. Cody's been arguing me. The chat half supports me. Cody, CK is going to take, hopefully he's in the background taking care of a lot of audio shit that is coming up quick. I got to book my hotel. We got to start to get the logistics done. This is the C3 Panthers podcast special edition with Jim Zoki, Panthers Radio Network, available on Spotify and iTunes. Smash the thumbs up button, subscribe. Cody Lack, I love you. I've argued with you a lot. I think you're wrong.
Clearly.
I kind of wanted to flip you out of the chair a couple of times, but I think you mentally flip me out of my chair every time. CK, my brother, spend less, make more. My advice to you. No, actually, no. That's just remember, that's the mantra. Spend least, make most. Your work is worth a lot, and your supplies cost more than you think. Cody Lack,
100%.
Take us out. Say what you got to say and take us out of here.
C3 Legion, love y'all. Appreciate everyone in the chat room to the very end. Loud Packs, Luke, Real AP, Michael Weidrich, Luke from Shaky. Man, we appreciate y'all for rocking with your boys. We will see y'all this Friday. We're going to react to the game. And that'll be the last preseason game before real football starts. Appreciate y'all. Until next time, C3 Legion, keep pounding.